There it is. Hello. You didn't move across straight away. Hello, you. My name is Jonti.
And I'm Brandon, also known as B Squared, and this is This Week in Ink.
Each week we'll be wading through the Inklands to bring you the news and the views on all things Lorcana.
Coming up, we have our regular segments, Main Street Market Watch, and You Made Me Ink.
And we'll be discussing the latest topics and taking opinions from the live chat.
Hello,
live chat!
You know, sometimes we have to take a break so that you guys miss us a little bit extra the next time we come back.
Sometimes we have to take a break because Jonti can't get out of work as well, which is what this is all that happened last week.
This does not pay the bills, unfortunately.
No, like priorities. It was. Do you know what though? It's weird though because it was only a week, but it does feel like a lot longer.
It does.
Yeah.
I was thinking earlier today, trying to set up the show notes. I was trying to think of like some of the cards that hadn't been revealed yet. And I'd see a card and be like, that feels forever ago. I feel like that was 4 weeks ago, but it was only like, you know, just from the week we had missed.
We're definitely in the well, I want to say the hype cycle, but I feel with so much going on right now with the DLC.
Oh gosh, it's so much.
I just feel like it never ends now. We're just constant Lorcana hype.
I'm not gonna lie, my anxiety is like up to here right now because like I have all the regular life stuff that nobody sees that, you know, is just life. That's how it is that you have to take care of. And then there's like there was Bokam, you know, trying to keep up with that, which is fine. And then immediately after that, there's Set Champs. And then immediately after that, there's Fort Worth. And then there's more Set Champs. And then I'm sure, you know, we're getting even closer to Shimmering Skies. And we don't even have a majority of the cards that we're going to see in Shimmering Skies. So I'm sure those are going to be coming.
Before we know it. Yeah, it's less than a month away. The release of Shimmering Skies is less than a month away.
So I've been really good about setting money away every 3 months so that I can, you know, buy a certain amount of product just to play with and to open for my YouTube channel. I've been so busy. I haven't set away anything. like we're just whatever I can sum up.
Ramen for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're just gonna walk in with the credit card and be like, "What's it gonna be?"
Wow, awesome.
So
yeah, I paid Ursula off last week. I think I have the blessing and the curse of being able to run a little tab at the store, which is great, but also terribly scary.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we've got lots to talk about today. We are going to do all of the Shimmering Skies reveals since the last time we live streamed. It's not super many. I think we're just starting to get into the reveal cycle now. There's not super many to talk about, but there's all sorts to talk about. So we are going to start off with a brief look at the results from Bokam, just because we would have done this last week on the show, and we want to be thorough. So, so we are going to take a brief look at Bokam. It was split a little bit this time. They approached it differently, and they had sort of qualifying rounds both on the Friday and the Saturday. Is that right?
Yep. It was 2 separate tournaments. I think they capped at roughly 1,000 people each, and the top 32 from both made it into Sunday.
And that
as the top 64.
So the top 64 was still the same on Sunday, but the way you got there was through topping. So, okay, does that mean they were better players if it was top 32s from 2 separate 1,000 pods rather than a top 64 from a 2,000 pod? I bet Knives done the math.
I'm sure. I'm sure if
or not.
Twitter, it's probably has a whole thread on it. I don't know. It was tough for me to keep up with because that weekend was July 4th weekend for us in the States. So I wasn't really celebrating that, but my grandfather's birthday is on July 5th. So every year we go to his house, which is in the middle of nowhere, basically, with like no internet and really bad cell service. So it was kind of difficult for me to keep up with everything. So I don't know how bad the bubble was for both of those, like how many people passed the top 32 at the same points and just moved on. But I don't know, because otherwise I would think so, right? If it's only the top 32 instead of the top 64. But at the same time, the tournament was smaller. I guess in Chicago was 1,000 and it was still top 64. So
yeah, and Toronto is the 1,000 number as well for the top 64. Yeah. So yeah, be interesting to see. So we have. Let me see if I can bring this up. You have to bear with me. Share that tab. It's been a while, and then I click.
it's been a while.
As I don't just have a regular scene. All right.
No, you don't.
Hold on. I can do it.
Technical difficulties.
Go. Just because I've been away for a week.
We're out of
Click
touch.
this. Oh, there's our faces. And then I click that.
Hey,
there we go. See, that wasn't so bad.
Okay, we're on the Friday one.
Okay, so yeah, this is Friday. This is the top.
It's
of
weird.
Friday.
Yeah, we only have the first place, and then it just jumps to top 8.
Okay.
2 of the top 8, so we don't have all the information. But Bucky Discard took the number 1 seed on Friday.
And here it is.
I'm too surprised.
Boop.
I haven't even looked at these lists recently, so I mean, what more can we say about this deck, really?
It's going away.
Yeah, we'll be getting to that later in the episode. Luckily, I guess, luckily for me, I despise this deck with my every fiber of my being. This deck will be no longer after Fort Worth. That's where I'm going this weekend. Just
one last big weekend of it.
But
there's a couple of interesting things here. The evasive Tinkerbell.
Yeah, that one's a bit new.
I don't see her in every version of this. Single fire the cannons there to sort of answer the opposing Diablo, I suppose.
Yeah, Diablos or Flynn's or
yeah. Okay, well, that's that. Saturday, a little bit more interesting. Again, we don't have much of a selection here of what we're looking at. So the thing is, they don't. The way that all the challenges have worked is they've only had the top 64 become known deck lists, right? So we are relying on people uploading these after the fact for the information regarding the top cuts, I suppose. Although you could do the top 30. No, you could still do the top 32 of each day, couldn't you? So yeah, but we have Steel Sapphire, Emerald Steel still there, prevalent. But again, 64. I don't know where they placed. Yeah. Should we take a look at the Sunday, because that's the one where we can.
That's really the most important one. This is the last day. This was for all the marbles, and surprisingly, Emerald Steel did not make it into the finals at all. We actually had a Amethyst Ruby mirror match in the finals. And it was actually a really great mirror match. Both the mirror match in the finals and the semifinals games were both very entertaining to watch. If you haven't watched them yet, I highly recommend you go to the Disney Lorcana Facebook page. They should have the old live stream. And I caught up on those after I got back home. They were both really great matches.
Some of that after the fact as well.
Really fun to watch, and the casting team did a great job. But no Emerald Steel.
The casting team added Ross this time.
Yes,
he did a superb job as well. And yeah, I think it's one of the mirrors I don't mind watching, because I find that the Ruby Amethyst deck, in all its variations, right back from set 1, it's always been, or maybe a little less in set 2, but it's always been that slightly sort of reactive deck. It's always been that deck that has answers and can play around things, whereas so many of the other decks that we see are a little bit more sort of on the rails. I've always felt like Ruby Amethyst is the one that can sort of be reactionary when it needs to be, so you do get that sort of interesting matchup. Yeah,
as much as I didn't love the Rise of the Floodborn meta, because it was 70% Ruby Amethyst mirror matches for 3 months, now I think we're in a spot where it's a bit more enjoyable for me. And I don't know if it's because I've seen what else it can be, i.e. like Bucky Discard, where they're just non-games, and watching a mirror match of a deck that, like you said, is a bit more reactive and sort of requires both players to predict and play around what the opponent might have and be really strategic in the cards that they ink and play. And I mean, you do that in every game of Lorcana, but it's especially prevalent in this mirror match. I actually find it really interesting, and I built out a Ruby Amethyst deck for a set championship that I went to yesterday, this Sunday. And before looking at any lists, I just sort of started with what I thought was a core of a Ruby Amethyst list. I didn't realize how little wiggle room there really is for tech cards. So I think it's really interesting to see what people do with those few slots. Like, I think actually having a deck where 52 of the cards are already decided and then
kind of
just
locked in. Yeah.
makes it really interesting too, because you really have to make those tech cards count.
Here you see Peter Pan, King in Undisputed. Those are the wiggle slots, really.
I think Peter Pan is primarily the big wiggle spot, and then honestly after that, maybe the Maleficents or maybe the Be King Undisputeds.
Oh yeah, the 3-drop Maleficent. Yeah, I could definitely see her being a bit more of a open slot.
Everything else, like maybe you get rid of 1 or 2 Be Prepareds if you want to, and outside of that, I don't think there's much more that you should touch with this deck with the way that the meta has evolved. There's some people that I'd like. There's only 4 1-drops in this deck with Chernobog's followers, and that's it. There's some people that'll also run the Magic Broom, Luminary Keeper, I think is what it is, to get a couple extra 1-drops. But yeah, and the Peter Pan ended up making a difference in the finals. It actually, I forget if it was a quest that it needed or if it was a particular time that it needed to rush and take out a castle. But I won't spoil everything if you haven't seen it. But
it's not, Peter Pan is not there for the mirror, but occasionally just that fact that it has a bit of rush can be the difference that makes a difference, right? Here we see Tremaine's coming in over the Peter Pans. So it was good stuff. It was a great tournament. Just Emerald Steel not that oppressive there.
Yeah. There was actually a lot of Ruby Amethyst there from what I heard. Like, it was way more than we saw in Chicago, for instance, which was the most previous DLC before that. Even after having the Rat or Brian win Chicago with Emerald Steel, which historically hasn't been a great matchup for Ruby Amethyst. There was a ton of Ruby Amethyst in Bokam. So that was kind of an interesting, thing that I don't think I would have expected going into that tournament.
So we're going to talk more about Bucky in a moment, but yeah, I don't really think that the correction on Bucky is necessarily due to the deck being the best deck. I think it's more to do with how much it affects the meta in general, and we'll look, and that's what I think we're seeing here. So talking of this doing well at Set Champs, we are thick in the middle of Set Champs season now, with the Ursula Set Champs being every weekend in July, every Saturday, Sunday of July. How they've been going for you?
I had really polar opposite experiences this weekend for Set Champs. The first weekend, like I said, I was out of town, so I couldn't participate in any of those. But this past weekend, I played in 2, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. Saturday, I played at my local game store, the one that I go to just about every week. And I've been playing Ruby Sapphire for the entire set. It's a deck that I thought was positioned super well early. It's a deck that I still believe in and think can be really strong. And so I've been tinkering with that for a while and decided to bring that to my Set Champs with a couple fun tech pieces in there. I ended up playing 2 of the uninkable 5-drop Hercules, the 7/3s, and which actually did what I wanted them to do. I was concerned about
castles.
Yes, I was concerned about locations at my locals because there's a teammate that was running Amber Steel and was playing like Pride Lands and stuff a bunch, and so I wanted to be able to take those out. And there were quite a few people that were playing Amethyst, either in Ruby Amethyst or in Emerald Amethyst, and both of course were playing Queen's Castles. And I really just felt the need to play the Hercules, playing such a slow deck as Ruby Sapphire, because I mean, the typical Flynn Sisu castle opening is just really difficult to stop or slow down, especially on the draw. Those are great. I also played 2 Great Stone Dragons, and that was so fun. There was in my first round, of Saturday, I got paired into a Ruby Amethyst player, and by the end of game 1, I had to have 20 ink in my inkwell. Like it got to a point where it was impossible for me to manage the amount of ink that was there, and ended up
just assume I have it when I play something. Just assume I can afford it. Is that basically?
Yeah, basically, like I ended up getting 2 lucky dimes down that game, and like hit Tamatoa for 12 lore in one go. It was actually a super close game because I think they got up to 18 lore and just like could not find the goat, and I was able to come back by getting both lucky dimes down and finding a Tamatoa. But that was super fun. And then unfortunately, after my successful round 1, I paired into a Emerald Amethyst aggro deck that just played like Merfolks, Flynn's, Castles, that sort of thing. And
not something you see much.
Yeah, there just wasn't much that I could do about it. And I really wasn't familiar with the matchup, to be honest with you. So ended up losing there. Then after that, got paired into an Amber Amethyst hyper aggro deck.
Wow.
Where they opened Lilo turn 1, Piglet turn 2, Bodyguard Donald turn 3, Piglet turn 4. And I was just like, you win, I guess.
You'd got some ink.
yeah. I was about to say, I have a popsicle on board and have 5 ink. So, there wasn't much that I could do. I ended up losing that. And of course, it was very small set champs. I think there were about 11 people. So I was out of the running at that point. Ended up playing my 4th round and saw success in that round. So didn't win in that one. But then Sunday, I was like, okay, didn't feel great about Ruby Sapphire. Learned my lesson. The people around me are playing nothing close to the global meta of Emerald Steel, Ruby Amethyst, and Sapphire Steel. So I'm going to go with Old Faithful. And I put together Ruby Amethyst. It was the exact list that won the Bokam event and did well. I made it to the finals yesterday. I ended up, I think I 2-0'd my first round into Emerald Steel against Bucky. I lost every die roll, by the way, that day, which was real fun. Round 2, got paired into a teammate who was playing the Amber Steel list and ended up beating him 2-1, 2 very close games. And then got paired into another Emerald Steel deck that I'll get to in a minute. It was not a Bucky discard deck, but it was an extremely fun deck to play against and had some really fun things that happened. Took that 2-1. ID'd in round 4 because I had won the first 4 rounds, and then made it into top 4. Played against another teammate that was playing Mufasa. I played probably one of my favorite games of Lorcana that I've ever played. They found 4 Mufasas and probably the top 20 cards of their deck, which is not good for me in Ruby Amethyst. And I managed to find 3 of my Be Prepareds. I think they had 2 Mufasas on board at once. I Be Prepared, and they immediately... Oh, no, I'm sorry. They had 2 Mufasas on board, exerted one of them. I foxed one, and then they immediately Mufasa into another Mufasa. And then I Be Prepared their board, and of course they, pull out 2 other characters that ended up not really doing anything, but they were good characters. They got all the way up to 18 or 19 lore in one game, and I had to dig. Like, I can't tell you how many cards that I played that drew cards, and if it weren't for Queen's Castle being down, just gaining that passive lore every turn, I would have lost. I think the very last turn they had game on board. I had to find a Brawl or a Medusa to remove one of their characters that had 2 lore. I had played 2 Chernobog's followers, moved them to Queen's Castle. I think I drew like 3 or 4 cards off Queen's Castle, had to banish the Chernobog's followers, draw more cards off of that. And on the last draw, I found a Madame Medusa and was able to play it for a game. So that was really fun. And then in the finals, we split. It was it was a long day. It took us forever to get through those 3 games in the top 4. And the guy that was in the finals was the guy that I ID'd with in round 4. So we hadn't played each other yet, but he was out of town at least 2 hours, maybe 2.5. I had about an hour drive to go home, and he was like, look, how do you want to split this? Because the champion was supposed to get the playmat and the promo, but then they were also going to get a box of the first chapter. And then the second place was going to get half a box of the first chapter and then all the other stuff as well. So he was like, I will split it any way you want swapped. He was like, so if you want the champion playmat, I'll just give you the champion playmat and you take the half box for second place. Or you can take the non-champion playmat and I'll take the full box and I'll take the other stuff. And I was
Okay.
like, are you crazy? Like, I didn't say this. I was like, the non-champion playmat is usually just as good, if not better, than the champion
Yeah.
one if you're trying to sell it, which I wasn't. I'll be honest. Don't hate
Yeah.
me, Rochelle Ravensburger. I especially looking at the mats in person, I did not want one. They were way too busy. So I was like, I will absolutely take that split and go home. So I got a box of the first chapter, got the my Ursula, and then the champion playmat. Immediately traded my Ursula and the box for a enchanted bell, which I'm
Oh,
missing
set
from
one.
my
Yeah,
collection.
that's
Yeah,
neat. Get in
so
there. Get in there.
getting there. I think I have about 4 more first chapter enchanteds before I'm done, and I think Elsa's the only like more expensive one that I
It's the
have. The
tricky
other
one.
ones are so out of those enchanted, some of the cheaper ones.
Yeah.
And then a buddy of mine who had won multiple set championships already hadn't gotten a mat yet and traded me back in Ursula for
Oh,
the
wow.
playmat. So I walked away with an Ursula and a Belle after the Sunday. So
And a box of first chapter.
no, so I traded.
Oh, the
I
the
traded the
Ursula
box
and the box
and the
became a
Ursula.
Belle. Then
Yes.
the mat became a different Ursula.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a lot of switching around, but I was really happy at the end of it because
Good.
I don't know. I don't need another box of the first chapter.
Yeah.
I'd be opening it looking for an enchanted. So
I'll be honest with you. What we've done at our store and other stores nearby have started doing it as well because apparently people really dig it. Is that all of our pack pricing starts at 5th.
Yeah.
And basically it means that we give 5 to 8 quite a few cards, and then we actually price down halfway down the table. So so it sort of goes down further, and people are happier, and then all those people sort of 5 to 8 who make top cut but don't make Ursula pricing still walk away with a good chunk of packs, and that works well for us, to be honest with you.
I was really happy with this store because they didn't do that, obviously, after having explained that, but they did end up giving like everybody got at least one pack, and there was pricing all the way down, which I always appreciate. I think stores should do, like, I don't know, it just feels, it stings worse, and I'm more likely to come back and play in a tournament if I at least walk away with a single pack after having paid $30 to play in the tournament. Gives you something to walk away with, but nobody around here does that where it starts at 5th. But I really like that because the people who make top 4 are walking away with plenty. They've definitely earned their money back.
Like, you've given them a few $100 in a card.
Yeah, and, I was selling,
and like,
sorry,
no, I was just gonna say a few $100 in a card, and like first chapter packs are cool, I guess, but for the most part, the pricing's Ursula's, and you're like, I don't need anything. I literally have the best deck that I can build right now using these cards. I've just won a tournament with it, like I don't need anything else.
Exactly. And that's what I was telling somebody yesterday was like, as soon as I lock in the top 4, I'm chill. I don't care if I'm the champion of the thing. I just, want the Ursula, and that's all.
It's funny you should say that because I haven't been able to play in a set champ this time. I'm going to see if I can find a Sunday one this weekend. Nothing's on the radar. I was signed up to play in one last weekend. I had to pull out of it relatively last minute, sort of in the middle of the week, actually. Very briefly, my other life, on the internet, I'm a video game content creator, which has been on the back burner for a little while
Jonti.
now. I've been cheating on you all, I'm afraid. The game that sort of made me on YouTube was Planet Coaster, and Planet Coaster 2 was announced a couple of days ago. And about 3 or 4 weeks ago, the company that made the game got in touch and was like, "Hey, do you want to get like an early access look at it so you can get a video ready for the announcement?" I was like, "Well, yeah, sure I do." And they were like, "Cool, how's Sunday at 2:00?" Which is right in the middle of the set champ I was signed up for. So unfortunately, I had to step back for the set champs because I couldn't turn down the opportunity for the Planet Coaster coverage. So And then this weekend, the Saturday was the one I ran, the one I judged, the one at my store that I work at. So that was really good, and it was really good fun to see it from that side. Obviously, they're fun to play in as well, but there is something nice to just be able to like walk the floor and make sure everyone's happy, and and there was a couple of judge calls, but nothing really major. The only one that sort of not got me, but that I had to think more than just a lot of them like they say, "Can I do this?" I'm like, "No, you can't because of this reason." The only one that made me go was somebody sang Strength of a Raging Fire with Ursula, Deceiver of All, to banish a Mufasa, and they said, "Can I use the second playing of the card from Ursula to hit whatever Mufasa turns over?" And that's what I did.
My intuition says no, but I'm not actually sure.
No, you can't. No, the Mufasa complete the strength from Ursula completely resolves.
Oh yes, because
if you wish it to,
has to resolve first.
Yeah, and then the game state checks for Mufasa dying. Yeah, so yeah. No, that was the only one that and I did exactly what you just did. I went.
Yeah, I was like, what?
and then I called it, and they were both happy, and they carried on play. And then I quickly messaged our group and was like, "Joe."
Okay, so I want to bring this up because I don't know if you saw this in our group or not. There was something that happened at my Saturday set champs that I didn't know it happened until long after it happened. Else I probably would have said something about it. And I've consulted Joe, Googly Glimmers. Anybody in the chat that's not familiar with Googly, he's basically the Lorcana judge. I mean, like not really, but kind of.
As far as I'm concerned, outside of the Ravensburger staff, there is nobody more knowledgeable on the rules.
Yes. So in one of the games, there's player 1 and player 2. Neither of them are tracking each other's lore. So already, like, people, please, in a set championship, in any tournament with serious prizing, write down your lore and write down your opponent's lore. Pen and paper, and this is why. I'm about to tell you why. Player 1 is using just like a counter, very similar to the like spin things we get in the troves and stuff. The other guy's using dice. I don't know if he was using a D20. I don't know if he was using D6s and just counting them up. Doesn't really matter in this scenario, I don't think, but he was using dice. At some point during the game, his dice were knocked over by him, I think. And he goes,
accidentally.
Oh, yes, supposedly accidentally. I don't know. I didn't see this. He goes, oh man, I don't remember what lore I was at. And then the other player says, I don't remember either. And so the guy who knocked over his die says, well, I'll just match your lore.
Oh.
And just, yeah. That's what I said when I found this out. I was like, what? Nobody called a judge. To be honest, I mean, this is a small set champs. We're in a store. There's a bunch of other people doing stuff that's not Lorcana. I don't think the player who did not accidentally knock over their die, I don't think they felt comfortable calling a judge. I don't think they had done it before. It was very understandable. They're a little bit younger. Yeah, a lot of people don't. I don't know that I would have in that scenario in just your local game store. So what would you do? Like if somebody does call a judge and they're like, we don't remember what lore he was knocked over. Because I definitely would not have accepted I'll just match whatever lore you have.
So that's like, the thing. No. I know that's not acceptable, but I can't off the top of my head, I can't think how I would rectify that. So first of all, I would ask the players to attempt to replay the game mentally. Like, okay, so can you think what happened? Because you have the opponent's lore, so you can sort of work back through that relatively easily, and through doing that, work back through the other guys. So I'd at least try that. I think if that doesn't happen, so the two things that I would think rectify it is either the player who knocked his dice over is at 0 lore, Like if it can't be tracked, it's 0, or the game is null. In both those cases, both players would be receiving citations. Depending on the nature of how competitive the event was ran, there would be warnings or cautions or warnings. But it's down to both players to have this stuff maintained. So they would both receive the same citation. I don't know though. It would probably depend a little bit on the vibe. Like I know there is a right and wrong answer, but I don't know what it is. But it would have to be either the player who messed up is at 0 law, or the game is cancelled. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I would also say, give me 1 minute, and then I'd go and Joe.
That's the thing. When Joe saw it, he was like, "I have no idea."
Yeah.
He was like, "I have no idea what I would have."
Well, that makes me feel a bit better.
My
worry was that Joe just went, "Oh yeah, you do this."
Well, that's why I asked, because I was like, I certainly don't know what should have been done, but I'm curious now. And the answer was, I have no idea.
Yeah, there's nothing in my mind from the play correction guides cover it. Nothing I can think of is covered. It's currently covered. They're still a little light. The play collection guys. They still need to be fleshed out. But yeah, not a clue. Wouldn't have the first clue what to do. So, but that's it. I'm glad they're going well for you, buddy. You got any more locked in?
Yeah, so this weekend I'll be in Fort Worth, so of course I'm not gonna be doing set champs while I'm over there. But the weekend after that, there are 2 more set champs that I'll be able to go to. One of them will be in my local area in the LGS. It's close, but doesn't have much of a Lorcana scene. And then another one will be about an hour away. But I think depending on how we feel, I mean, at that point it'll be the very end of set champs. We'll be on the edge of Shimmering Skies, and I don't know, I may have a bunch of other stuff that I'm concerned about and not go, but I have the ability to go to 2 more if I wanted to. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, so that's Fort Worth. Do you have much else we can say about Fort Worth at the minute? I don't think we can really.
I mean, I don't think so. Nothing other than trying to figure out, if we want to guess what we're going to see in Fort Worth. I'm expecting to see lots of Bucky, because it's going to be his last hurrah.
His last hurrah.
Like thrown into the trash can. So I'm expecting to see a lot of that. I think Ruby Amethyst is very well positioned right now. And so if it were, I don't know, probably Ruby Amethyst or something that beats Ruby Amethyst is what I'm.
That's what if I can find one next week. Or the week after, sorry. Ruby Amethyst is probably what I'll try and put together, I think. Just going to answer this one from the chat. Whoops. Are stores allowed to ban Bucky for set champs? Nope. No. He's not banned, full stop, first of all. The errata doesn't come into play until the launch of Shimmering Skies Set 5, which is the 9th of August. So, no, they're not allowed to ban him from set champs.
But
can they ban him for their weekly league play? I mean, probably technically not, but,
Is Toronto before August 9th?
No, it's after August 9th.
Okay.
So we need to talk about that briefly as well. Toronto is going to have its own mini meta, because set 5 cards aren't applicable. But the Bucky errata is in place.
This is worse than Atlanta.
So there's literally going to be a Toronto meta for 1 weekend only.
Shimmering Skies will already be out, but everybody interested in anybody playing in Toronto or casting Toronto is going to ignore all the Shimmering Skies stuff.
It's not even like more set 4 though, because the Bucky errata takes place.
Because Bucky's going to be different.
It's going to be its own little set meta. It's going to be so crazy.
Yeah,
I'm excited for it. All right, so Fort Worth of the weekend is going to be very exciting. Looking forward to seeing what comes out of it. I don't want to keep talking about it because I don't want to get in trouble saying stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Now, briefly, we'll mention this because it's big news.
I think it is
for some people.
I think it's big news in general.
I suppose it is in general. Yes.
I don't think it's getting as much hype as it probably should.
And that is that Lorcana is going to China
Woo!
The game is going to be, the game is going to be printed in. I want to say Chinese. Is it just?
Chinese, I think. I don't
Is it
know.
just Chinese? I'm not sure because I know there are different languages and the written
Yeah.
languages are referred to different things. I'm very ignorant to all this, but at least I'm aware that I'm ignorant. like maybe kind of helps.
I'm trying to quickly
But yeah,
skim this Mushu article and see, but it doesn't say, so I don't know.
yeah. So they're going to be available through a few different places, mainland China, and it's going to be shared around on their socials that they're allowed to use, and it's exciting stuff, I guess. Yeah, Mandarin or Cantonese. There you go.
I think this is big. I always hear how big other card games are in Asian markets in general. So the fact that this is going to China, I think, is going to be really good for the game. I think it's just going to bring in a whole plethora of players that we haven't even seen yet that
Yeah.
could be really, really great. Bring in some really cool people and new names and exciting meta breakthroughs and all kinds of stuff. More people playing the game is awesome. So.
And I assume that it's similar to other languages that are getting hold of the game. They will, like the releases will be in line with the rest of the worlds, but they might reprint and re-release the earlier sets. I think is that what we're thinking is happening.
That's what I
happening for other
heard.
countries. Yeah.
In the Illuminateer stream, they mentioned something like that. So blame them if we get it wrong. I think
this week in Ink, your place for secondhand news.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think that's what I heard is that they are going to re-release the sets as they come out. It's not like for instance some of the Bandai products like One Piece, for instance, gets its Eastern release and then months later that set comes out in Western. So I don't think that's what's happening here. I think they will eventually all be in line, but it might take them a little time to catch up. The reason I say that is because I think that's one of the reasons regarding the Bucky errata over ban is because the Floodborne set will be reduced in its entirety in these new markets. So yeah. So yeah, exciting stuff if you are in China, and like you said, I think it's just going to a bigger international player base is just good for the game. So yeah, it's exciting stuff. All right, do we talk about it?
It's time. We've beat around the bushes or the trees with this squirrel.
Beat around the Bucky.
Beat around the Bucky. Bucky's gotten beaten down, to be honest. They've sort of just really, really scrapped him, honestly, with this errata. Bucky's not banned.
No, he's not banned. First of all, so if for some if you've been under a rock and for some reason you don't know, there has been an errata for Bucky that will come into effect on August 9th on the hobby store release of set 5. He was a 2-costed 1/1 with 1 lore with ward and the ability Squeak. Whenever you play a Floodborne character, each opponent chooses and discards a card. He is now a 3-costed 1/1 with 1 lore without ward and the ability Squeak. Whenever you play a Floodborne character, if you use Shift to play them, each opponent chooses and discards a card. So there are three changes here. He is 1 more ink expensive. He no longer has ward, and his ability requires seeing a Floodborne character be shifted for it to trigger. So just want to get everyone up to speed, just in case there's anybody who didn't know what we were talking about. So, how do we feel about this?
Okay. Initial thoughts is it was overkill. I don't think this card is playable anymore. Like I just don't see, at least not anytime soon. I don't see there being a deck that can play Bucky and see success, or it's not just better for you to play other cards. That being said, I noticed there was a lot of talk around why they didn't just ban Bucky and instead change so much about Bucky that he basically isn't playable. So like it's basically a ban because nobody's going to play him. My history long term with card games is digital, so I'm very familiar with erratas, but it's much easier to do that with a digital card game because it changes for everybody, and there's no confusion of me having a Bucky that says one thing and then someone else having a Bucky that says something else. So I'm comfortable with erratas. I personally didn't understand why there was so much hubbub around the errata change versus just banning the card or like not making it playable. Yeah.
So for me, the reason they have since stated the reason for an errata rather than a banning is so that the emerging markets where the game is moving into with new languages still get a full experience. And if a card is opened over there, if a pack is opened over there, for instance, they don't want the experience of one of those cards being unplayable, like actually unplayable, as in like not allowed to be played, as opposed to just not being good enough. We use the term unplayable a lot, but actually unplayable as in actually not to be allowed to play, as opposed to a card that, yes, may well read differently in the actual rules of the game, but is still playable. So that was the reason they stated for choosing for an errata over a ban. I have no real problems with erratas in general, but I feel like they should just be used for grammatical issues and maybe slight verbiage that sort of make a card rules as intended as opposed to rules as written. Like the slides, this isn't the first errata by a long shot. The stuff we've already had erratas is things like the word chosen has been added to a few cards that didn't have it, so that it works in line with how the rules are worded around ward. And then a few spelling issues. Pasha's name was spelt wrong on a card. So nothing real major. That for me personally is where an errata sits. To change a card so drastically that if this new version was called something different with different art, we would just go, oh look, a not as good Bucky. Like it's that so far different that it's basically a different card. And for that reason, not only is it such a different card, it is seemingly very unplayable now. And there I am referring to the not very good definition of unplayable. That it may have been neater and simpler to put in a ban. So imagine this. This is going to happen very, very little, but this could happen. You sit opposite somebody who's playing an Emerald Steel deck or an Emerald whatever deck, and on turn 2 they play a Bucky, and you say, oh, that card's errated now, actually it costs 3. And they believe you and pick it up. And next turn they play it, and then you target it with an action. And they say it's got ward, and you say, "Oh no, the errata that made it 3, it's actually it got rid of ward as well." And they believe you and carry on playing, and then they play another one, and along it play a Floodborn and try and get you to discard a card, and you say, "Oh no, that errata that got rid of ward and made it more expensive, actually the Floodborn has to be shifted now because," and they believe you and carry on playing. Like, how much easier is it to go, oh, that card's banned now?
See, here's my argument against that. Because I get what you're saying, and I think the bigger argument for that in my eyes is, what if somebody plays a Bucky and everything's wrong, right? And like you just have to go through the motions of explaining where it's like I suppose it would. I don't know. No, I'm going to take this back, because either way, like if they're not that familiar with the game already, they're probably not going to know that the card's banned versus if it's errated. So like they'll play the card anyway, and you're going to have to explain something to them.
I'm going to have to explain in one word.
Nope. I'd see. This is where I disagree, because all of the erratas are very neatly found in the Disney Lorcana app that your judge, at the very least at your store, should have accessible. And as soon as I see a Bucky come down on 2, I'm going to say, oh, I'm sorry, wait a second. If I'm not going to pull out my phone and show it to them, I'm going to call over and judge and say, hey, I just want you to know this card's errated. A lot has changed. Here's what it looks like. And I'm going to pull the card up on my phone, let them read it and go, oh, okay, it's cost 3. I have to shift. It doesn't have ward anymore. and then they take it back and they can do what they want with it, which I feel like is, I mean, it's technically more than being like, oh, that's banned, you can't play it.
Mm-hmm.
But at least they can still play the card. And it's still just in one action. I'm saying, here's all the things that's different with the card as soon as they play it.
I just think it'd be so much easier to open the app and have a little thing that says this card is currently banned from constructed play. Like, I think it's just neater. If a card is so... And so, first of all, I would like to point out that I don't think either of us think that this shouldn't have happened.
No, I'm a big believer that a change needed to happen.
It's how they... I want to point that out because I think that's this whole separate debate that I'm not really part of, because I'm like, yeah, bring it on. Every now and again,
yeah,
print something.
Take it out.
Yeah, every now and again, you're going to print something that's going to be way too strong. It just went under the radar with internal testing because there's only so many games you can play internally. There's only so much math you can do that before it actually gets let out into the real world and hundreds of thousands of people play with them. It's going to happen in trying to make fun cards. You are going to make something that is broken occasionally, and you just have to suck it up and say, yeah, sorry, this one's a bit too dialed up. Here's what we're going to do about it. Like, that's fine. I have no problems with it at all. The reason why I think it needed to happen with Bucky over, say, Diablo, let's be honest, because they pretty much go hand in hand now. The reason Bucky's been around since set 2, the reason why now he's been a problem is because set 4 gave us other cards as well, the Aladdin, the Steel Aladdin. But let's be honest, Diablo was really what turned that deck up to 11.
Yeah.
The reason why I think Bucky was the problem over Diablo is because Diablo is answerable through the lack of ward, but also I think Diablo is as good as he's ever going to be. The thing that makes Diablo powerful is the ability that's written onto him, and nothing else needs to happen for Diablo to still not be a good play unless we just get a lot more answers to him. The problem with Bucky is every single time, and we'll see this in a minute, there is a Shift 3 Emerald Floodborn that's been revealed today. And with Bucky as he was, every single time that happens, the community go, another good Bucky.
Yeah.
Bucky just got better. And Bucky just would forever get better the larger pool of cheap Floodborns in either his own color or a color that he cares about come out. So Diablo's ceiling was hit because Diablo is a very strong card. Bucky's ceiling just keeps going forever as long as they keep making Floodborn, like good cheap Floodborn cards, basically. So that I feel like that's why Bucky was the one that was that they've decided to rectify here through this. Outside anything else, because if you can have a card that just sits there and doesn't have to do anything and just makes the rest of your deck better, and the rest of your deck is something that they keep printing variations of that you can constantly tweak and mold to the new meta, that's why it's a problem, personally.
Yeah, I agree with most of everything that you've said. I think that even more so than Bucky just being a card that gets stronger, like that essentially has no ceiling for the reasons you mentioned. Every time we get a good Floodborn character, Bucky gets better. There's a lot of other cards like that in the game currently, right? Like we have Ariel Spectacular Singer. Every time there's a 5-cost song or less that's good, that's printed, she gets slightly better. Yeah. And we have Blue Fairy, which is very close to Bucky, except she has evasive and not ward. And so I don't think, I mean, that what you mentioned, I agree with, is that Bucky's a really strong card and will only ever get better and eventually likely reach a point. I mean, did reach a point where it was a little too strong. And I think that's primarily because of the way that the limited options we had to interact with Bucky. You don't see anybody crying about Blue Fairy needing to be errata or banned. Yeah. And she's essentially the same card in that you are going positive on card advantage. It's just sort of in the opposite way. You're drawing cards rather than your opponent discarding cards. And bringing me to my second point, I think it was because of Bucky's ability in general, like discard in any card game.
It feels bad.
It feels bad. It's not fun to play against, and it creates non-games. Like if there are plenty of games that I've played against Bucky where I get to 4 ink and that's all the cards in my hand, and there's nothing else that I can do. Every turn as I draw a card, do I play the card or ink the card? Because it's going to be discarded if I don't.
Mhm.
And your opponent gets 3 or 4 turns where you don't do anything and they get to do something, and then it's gone. And so even in a card like Blue Fairy, that is very similar to Bucky in a lot of ways, even Blue Fairy's slightly healthier for the game
Mhm.
because, okay, maybe my opponent has a Blue Fairy on board and maybe they're getting 800 triggers off of Blue Fairy, but I at least still have cards in hand and I can ink and I can interact with the card. And so, like, the biggest change for me was that Bucky lost Ward. I think that was like the primary had to
Yeah.
happen, first thing that had to happen. Even I think increasing its cost may have helped a little, but I think still would have been like it still would have been pretty strong because
Yeah.
even at turn 3, there's not a lot that you can do to interact with Bucky.
Yeah.
And just allowing people to interact with him at all, I think is super helpful. And it still doesn't open up a ton of options, to be completely honest with you, because
Mhm.
it's primarily it's like it opens up a lot in steel, makes steel a
Yeah.
lot stronger,
You
of
still
course.
need some sort of targeted answer, you know?
Right.
Like, yeah.
And then outside of that, the only thing I can think of immediately is like Teething Ambitions and Ruby.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that there's much else that just outright like would banish Bucky.
So here's what a friend of mine said when we were talking about it at the time. And I can't really find a flaw in his logic. There must be one, because otherwise I feel like this is what they've done. We were talking about it and making the changes. And he said, why have they done all that? Why didn't they just make it say, whenever you play a Floodborn character, if this character is exerted, each opponent chooses and discards a card?
Yeah. I think that would have been a great change
I was
too.
like, oh,
Then it
yeah.
forces interaction.
He was like, it's 4 words. Comes down on 2. Next turn, he quests or sings, and they maybe get 1 card off of you, but the next turn, he's wide open to get hit. And
Can't
like,
even shift Diablo on turn 2 anymore.
yeah.
Takes that
And I was like,
away.
oh my God, you're right. And I've thought about it since. I'm like, I can't think of a reason why that wouldn't just be a good fix. But there
Yeah.
must be one, because they know what they're doing. They didn't say they know what they're doing. They printed this very strong card, but they'll have looked at lots of different options. They haven't just threw
Mhm.
together this errata in 10 minutes. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't think of what. Yeah, you're right. That would just be a really good answer
That's what I
to
was sort of confused
it.
about too when I read when the day that it came out, because I mean, I certainly didn't know this was happening. I was
Yeah.
a very big surprise when I saw the article.
Mm.
Uh, because I didn't expect it to happen so soon, I guess. I expected something like this to happen eventually, just not as soon as it did. And I read a little further and I was like, oh, they changed Bucky's cost. Okay, that's not what I would have done, but okay, that's cool. Oh, he doesn't have Ward again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right, awesome. We're in a great place.
Yeah.
Oh, you also have to shift now? And I'm just like, why are we making so many changes to this card? Like,
Yeah.
why did they go so hard when you could have done a multitude of different things? Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, the change of having it exerted, or I even think just taking Ward off of it,
Yeah.
changing it so you had to shift characters would have been big too. I mean, like every one of these things was a big hit, and
Yeah.
it felt
To
like
have
they
all
took
of them.
a really complicated or really excessive, maybe a better word,
Approach. Yeah.
approach.
I mean, the only other thing is, we have to say at this point, is they have a much better idea of what's coming. Like they
Right. They
know,
are
way
half a
ahead in
dozen steps
sets.
ahead of us.
Yeah. So maybe it's just that all of these things that we feel like would fix the current set 4 meta isn't enough with what they're
Yeah.
leading. Floodborne is obviously a huge mechanic in the game. We often
Mhm.
talk about like the game's ink system or whatever is really big. I think Floodborns is arguably one of the real things that sets this game apart from other TCGs. So they're
Yeah.
obviously going to continue to lean into it, and having to constantly think about something like this card with them, and just have it so that all of us have to constantly think. And I think that's the reason why this has happened. Not because Bucky is so strong it's winning everything, it's that it's
Right.
warping the meta. It's that
Mhm.
every deck either has to beat Bucky, or have an answer to Bucky, or hope it doesn't see Bucky. And again, somebody, my store the other day said, he said the problem is when you say to people, what are you playing, they'll say, oh, I'm playing Ruby Amethyst, or oh, I'm playing Steel Song, or I'm playing Ruby Sapphire, or I'm playing Bucky.
Yeah.
It's one word.
Yeah,
That's the
it is.
problem.
And I want to circle back to that because we looked at Bokam, right?
Yeah.
And Bucky didn't win Bokam.
No.
It didn't make the finals. I don't even know that it was in the top 4.
But all of the decks in Bokam were put together.
Yeah.
Very aware of Bucky,
Bucky by himself is limiting all of the other deck possibilities out there because there's other really solid decks in the format currently that you just can't play if you're expecting Bucky in any capacity.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mufasa's kind of been a meme for the past couple sets, and I feel like it's always been this close to being like playable. And I still think it's like this close, but maybe just like even that much closer, like not quite tier 1.
Yeah.
But it's a good deck. Like it's not a bad deck. And there's a couple others too. I think of Amethyst Steel and a few others that people have tried to build around, but like they just can't. They have a tough time into Bucky, and it's basically an auto loss. That's why I was surprised to see so much Ruby Amethyst, because typically in the Ruby Amethyst matchup, especially if your opponent can land like 2 Buckies on turn 2 and turn 3, there's just nothing you can do about it. But he's not unbeatable. I played a Bucky in set champs, and my opponent didn't see Bucky in the game 1 on turn 2, and I won that game pretty easily. And then on game 2, he also didn't see the pieces that he needed and won that one pretty easily too. Like, is the thing about the deck is if you don't see the Bucky and it doesn't do its thing, it kind of falls apart. But when it does do its thing, it's oppressive.
Yeah, it's not. I think it's perhaps more extreme than this, but like it's a little similar with Sapphire if they don't see the Hiram. Like it. Really puts a big cog in a big spanner in the works or what have you. So yeah. No, overall, I think it needed to happen. I don't quite agree with the way they've implemented it, but I feel like with the announcement that Rochelle made after the fact. This isn't really the way they wanted to deal with it. It's just the way that they are having to deal with it now due to the sort of emerging markets. So, we'll have to see. So there you go. There's our Bucky talk. We didn't, we're not the Illuminateers. We didn't go and get the voice actor of Bucky to talk about.
Yeah, come on, man.
Like, how does he do it, man?
What are we supposed to do after that?
Well, outside of getting an actual squirrel in, I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know. I don't know what tops that. I don't think anything does, to be honest.
Liam kills it. Liam is the master of
he is.
Getting
I don't
guests.
know. I don't know how he manages to find everybody and then also get them to respond when he reaches out to them.
I'm giving up at this
I
point.
guess.
Should we do a pack battle?
We should. It's been weeks. I want you to know I've been holding on to this aerial pack for probably a month because we haven't done a pack battle.
Well, it doesn't bode well for me that you have an aerial pack because I have an Ursula pack, and we all know how that goes.
Oh.
We all know who wins that fight in the end.
We all know how that story ends.
Bring up Hobart. I got to do a bodge and just point this down tonight because my other camera's set up for something else.
Okay, let me make sure that my stuff's actually set up decently before I switch over to it.
I should get some dice, shouldn't I? If you like the look of this, you should head over to Real Play Network.
Yeah, our season. What is it? Season 1?
Season 1 is officially underway now. It's called Ode to a Squirrel.
Ode to a Squirrel. It's all month long. It ends August 8th. You can climb the ranked ladder with some fun webcam games. Okay, I guess I should change my screens.
I'm just going to say it because it's my show and I can say what I like. I think Real Play Network is the best place to find games online now.
Ooh, okay.
I think like it's all. It's all down to like that mass. What's like critical mass of people, and like I feel like we're the closest to it. There's over 2,000 people in there. There is. I've never looked in the place in the last month and not seen games happening. Yeah,
it's been weeks since I've seen.
There's just games constantly going. Always, the average queue time is less than 2 minutes. there's already, like, season 1 started a few days ago, and there's already 150 people in the leaderboard for it. We're well over 2,000 games total played in there. Like, it's just like, if you want to play on a webcam and you're not in Real Play Network, you should be. So yeah, just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Oh, that's good, isn't it? We should. Nobody's used that. We should.
Nobody's used that one. I think we should run with that as our slogan. That certainly won't get us in trouble.
We're so worried about not getting in trouble with Disney, we forget about Nike. All right, where's my Lotus?
I haven't used this in forever. I've been so busy. I've not played much.
I got a couple of games in the other day, last week, I think it was. It's good. Yeah.
Okay, can this be seen? That can be seen.
Yeah. Are you going to do mine as well?
Yeah.
I was just sorting myself out.
I can just do mine. Oh yeah, you just have yours. Forget this. We're going to reset it and take extra time. Start 21 player. There we go. All right. For anybody who doesn't know how pack battles work, I just want to open ours while we explain this.
Yeah.
For anybody that doesn't know how pack battles work, we, of course, start with a sealed pack. Only one. We open it. We do not look at the cards.
Yeah, these are technically our pack battle rules now at this point, I feel, because they are a little different to the official ones. So.
Well, no. I want to clear this up. Because the official thing people keep calling pack battles is not pack battles, I don't think. It is hidden ink, or it's hidden ink caster, I think.
Is that what they call it? Oh, okay.
Because all of your cards are inkable, which is the same way for this one. I'm going to sleeve these before I shuffle.
I'm not.
But essentially, we open a pack. You just flip them all over.
Try not to look at those. I think I saw there was a sapphire, but that was about it. Carry on.
So we open the pack. We don't look at the cards. The extra puzzle piece card here immediately goes into our inkwell and is part of our ink. Every card is inkable, regardless of the inkwell icon or not. What is it? First to 10, right?
Yeah.
First to 10. Am I forgetting anything?
If you run out of cards, your discard is shuffled.
Yes. There is no decking out in this format. So if we happen to draw all of our cards, we just reshuffle the discard.
And we draw.
And it's real fun. It's a great way to get 15 minutes of
content
or fun out of the packs that you're going to anyway.
I'll be honest with you now, when people are in the store and they're like, oh, give me a pack, I say to them, if I buy one, will you do a pack battle with me?
Yeah, dude, they're so fun.
Yeah. And they're like, what's a pack battle? I was like, watch the live stream.
How many cards do we draw? Is it
4?
Okay, I forgot that. That was another part of the rules. 4 cards. Let's see what we got.
Oh my word, it's game over for you.
I don't know. I'm just keeping this.
I'm gonna get rid of 1, 2.
Actually, no. I'm gonna get rid of this one.
Jeez.
And then I'll just put this back in and okay, thanks. Everybody just saw my work email.
Where was it where are you?
No. I realized today I don't even think I've taken off Monday yet for Fort Worth, so oopsies. Won't be there.
All right. I'm gonna roll. I got 8.
You got 8. I'll do you one better. I'll also get 8.
6.
I'll do you one better. And get 8 again. All right. I'm going to go first. Oh, what is this curve, man? Okay. We're going to ink.
You have a curve?
I do. We're going to ink Elise Shang. We're going to play a con, and then we're going to pass. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. We're not getting there. What's con again? A 2?
2 mana or ink. Sorry, 3/2 with 1 lore.
Mana?
I know. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can actually.
3/2. Oh, jeez. All right. Well, I'm gonna ink this brawl then.
Does this help any?
I'll play an Aurora. 1-3 with Ward. Go ahead.
There we go. 1-3 with Ward. Okay. Yeah. Ready, set, draw for turn.
Where can we find the rules? I don't know, Hana Lorcana. I don't know if they're written up anywhere. It's something that like Ryan events will do. He'll like throw a couple of packs at you and be like, yeah, let's play this. To
be honest, I think that's another video the Illuminators have, so you can go do that if you want. We're gonna play a Beast, thick-skinned.
Yeah.
2-3 with resist. And we're gonna quest for 1 with the con, and we're gonna pass.
I feel like you've had a much better start.
I have a pretty good start, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh wow. 1 for a foil Fortisphere.
Oh, okay. We're drawing cards.
Okay. Yeah, but now what?
Yeah, now you're down in ink.
No, I can still ink.
I know, but you can only play 2 ink this turn now.
Yeah. Well, unsurprisingly. I'm going to ink this Magic Broom. He's the one with 2/6 with resist.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Like, she just dies to con.
Yep.
I need to get lore. Lore is very important in this game. Go ahead.
It's so important. Okay. We're going to ready, set, and draw for turn.
He's not banned. I assume you're talking about the title of this video. You will notice that the word ban is in quotation marks, meaning it isn't necessarily true. Thanks for noticing. Welcome.
Cards in hand?
3.
3. Yeah, we're definitely doing
3 7-drops.
We're gonna good. This will be easy for you. We're gonna play a Daisy Duck. Oh, yeah. So when she's played, you got to discard a card.
Unplay?
Yes. When you play this character, each opponent chooses and discards a card.
It's okay. Avalanche.
Ooh, okay.
Go ahead.
All right, and then we're gonna challenge and banish the Aurora with con, and then we're gonna quest for 1 with Beast, and we're gonna pass.
Oh. Felix Madrigal.
Was he a 2/4?
2/4 with 2 lore.
Okay. Respectable.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. We're going to ready, set, draw for turn. I don't think that's coming out anytime soon. So we're going to ink a Flotsam and Jetsam.
Oh, yeah.
A 2/4. Yeah, so we're gonna quest with these 2, and sure, we'll quest with this for 3, go up to 5, and we'll pass.
I mean, yeah, why not? The only thing I think we could change about this is I feel like 10 lore is actually a little low.
I do too sometimes, to be honest with you.
It's like, yeah, I'll just go quest, whatever. Like, you deal with me, or I'm at 8 next turn.
Like, yeah, like we're already at such a race.
Yeah,
that if you don't start off strong, you just kind of lose.
Yeah, Ursula Singer down there. Yao.
Okay. See challenger, right?
Challenger's +2. Yeah, it's a 2/5 with challenger 2.
Okay.
Yeah, like, because I would want to go for 2 lore here, but I feel like I have to get rid of Khan.
Yeah, slow me down a little.
So Beast is a 2/3 with resist 1.
Yes.
And Daisy is a 2/3 as well.
2/3.
Oh, good stats, eh?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty solid.
Quest for 2.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You're gonna ready, set. See what we draw. That card was upside down. Oh, this is the
I'm just kind of hoping you run out of steam a little now as well.
Well, that's the question. Like, do you just ink the card
Yeah,
in
and
case you
hope you
draw
can play
something
whatever.
bigger,
Yeah.
or do you just play it for the tempo, just a quest? I think we just have to go. We're gonna play Diablo. Take a great look at your hand.
Oh, I have a 6-drop ticked.
Oh my gosh! If you could play that,
I
that'd be crazy.
know. Kind of regretting playing the Fortsphere now, so I wasn't an ink down.
Okay. Let's see. So you just have 3 lore on board. You do have a challenger, which would challenge for 4.
Mm-hmm.
If Felix questing for 2. If I quest for 3, I'm up to 8. You can only take out 2 characters next turn, presumably. So
yeah, so that's the thing. You can just
we're
you
just
can
gonna
just quest
quest.
out. Yeah,
Great.
I feel like 10 may be a little low. All right. Jesus Christ. Yeah, let's take out like 2 things, don't I? So but you still win.
Yep, you got 3 things. Yeah.
Yeah, Khan and Beast, I guess, and then you quest for 10.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So I don't think I saw my foil. Did I even see any of my rares?
Yeah, mine was not a good pack
didn't.
for this format.
Okay, so I literally only saw my 6 uncommons and
Wow.
two uncommons. So we're just gonna pull them off the top one at a time. See if we get anything nuts. Got an Aladdin uncommon. Maybe I didn't shuffle good enough. Oh, we got an Ariel. That's not
there you
that
go.
cool. A foil Hera.
Hera.
Okay, not great. And a Phil.
Phil. Oh, that's pretty
Not
good.
the worst.
I'll show you what my so my one rare was the broom. Super. It was double super rare pack actually.
Oh, nice.
So one was the broom. The other one, I'll show you as we go into this week's. This week, you made me ink.
Oh, this is great. Can't wait for you to pull it up.
It's Prince Philip, Vanquisher of Foes, as we move into this week in ink, which is actually that's my forehead. Which is actually this week in ink.
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier in the stream, I played in the set champs on Sunday, and in round 3, I was playing Ruby Amethyst. In round 3, I was paired into an Emerald Steel player that was still playing the Diablos, but was not playing Bucky's, and surprised me with a Chief Bogo Prince Philip deck.
Yeah.
Was running Diablos and all that, because Diablo's Floodborn still synergizes with Bogo, Tinkerbells. You get the gist. The deck wanted to damage all of my characters and then play Prince Philip and banish them all. Luckily for me, that never actually happened.
Oh, okay.
Because for anybody that doesn't know or hasn't caught it yet, if you have Chief Bogo on board and then you have a Moor for a way to shift Prince Philip, and you play, or I guess if you just play Prince Philip.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be shifted actually.
Both of their abilities enter the bag at the same time. So Prince Philip says when you play this character, banish all opposing damaged characters. He's also a ginormous body at 6/6 with 3 lore and evasive. So really troublesome to deal with unless you have an outright banish card. But Chief Bogo, when a Floodborn is played, deals 1 damage to every opposing character. So if you play Prince Philip with Chief Bogo on board, you can choose the Chief Bogo trigger first, damage all of your opponent's characters, then choose the Prince Philip trigger and banish all of your opponent's characters on their side of the board.
Basically a one-sided board wipe. And to be honest with you, with only 2 cards really, technically 3, because you're not necessarily gonna want to do this with 9 ink.
No.
So I feel like it's doable, and this has been one of those deck archetypes that has been just just bubbling under the surface for so long, and I feel like I think I said this about set 4 reveals, but I feel like set 5 might be the set, especially with the Bucky changes, set 5 might be the set where we see Emerald Steel ping. There's I think personally a great card we're going to have a look at in a moment for this deck. So
yeah. I think discard is still going to be a thing. It's going to be around, but I definitely think there's breathing room. I don't think Emerald Steel is going anywhere. Bucky's leaving, but I don't think Emerald Steel is going anywhere.
Yeah.
Whether it takes up this ping archetype or a discard or a mix of both, I don't know.
Yeah.
But there was a point in my set champs game that I lost because my opponent played out a morph.
Yeah.
I didn't really have like a big board. I think I had a Peter Pan Shadowfinder and maybe a Madame Medusa in play, and only the Peter Pan was damaged because he had rushed into a Diablo. But my opponent shifted Prince Philip on a morph, and I of course was not expecting it. I had not seen the Prince Philip before and banished the card, but it was an evasive 6/6 with 3 lore.
Yeah, like that's
I
still pretty
couldn't touch
good.
it. Yeah, like there was nothing I could do to get rid of it. As long as he kept characters in play, I couldn't be king undisputed.
Yep.
I couldn't find a be prepared to get rid of it. He was also playing Cinderella Stouthearteds, which kind of played a similar role of just a really big character that is difficult to get rid of with the way Ruby's moved and having most of its banish cards be reliant on strength, and these characters having a lot of strength. So it was an extremely fun game to play against because it was challenging. Like it certainly wasn't a free win for me, but I kind of never knew. I mean, after game 1, I had an idea of what my opponent was trying to do. So of course I was a bit more cautious if I saw a Chief Bogo or I saw a morph in play. I was considering different stuff that might be played, but it was fun to play against a deck that was not something that I've been playing against for the past 2 months.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was fun. It was exciting. It was a loss that I was happy to take, even in a set champs, because it was a surprise. I think it was my second game actually that it happened. So we had to go to a game 3, and even game 3 was super tight as well. Queen Castles put in a lot of work for me. But yeah,
good stuff. Yeah, it's good. It's good fun. I'm definitely holding on to 4 of these along with Bogos and even things like Relentless Beast and stuff. Like I feel like they're all just bubbling, and we just need a couple of pieces. And like I said, I think we'll take a look at the card reveals in a minute. I think one of the pieces is going to be in there. So, but before we do that, we have a quick Main Street Market watch. A couple of things to look at tonight. First of all, it's finally ended. It feels like it's been going forever.
I think it was a month.
Yeah. Oh, was it? Yeah. It
felt
so. Longer than that. But the golden BGS Pristine 10 Mickey, the second place one, I believe it is actually.
Second place from Leo, I think.
Yeah. Has finally sold for 29,280. The winning bid was 24,000. So I don't know where the 5,280 comes from. But I
don't know either, really.
Like that's fees, I guess. Because usually the fees come out of the bid, right? Like the seller eats those. So
yeah, it says the buyer's premium is a fee assessed to the winning bidder, which is 22% of the final bid price.
Yeah.
So I guess the buyer has to pay that fee.
So the buyer. So basically, 24K goes to the owner. And then that 5 is for Golden, I guess. I just assumed it normally is the other way around, that it just comes out of the final sell price. But yeah, there you go. 29,280, just under 30,000. That seems right to me, I guess. I'll be honest, originally I had these a little higher. I was thinking like 50K, honestly.
This is honestly the first time that I feel like I've set a number for a Lorcana card and it's been relatively close, because I'll always say, like, every card that I guess, it always ends up being more expensive than what I think that it's going to be. But yeah, because I've heard of a couple of these that have sold raw for roughly this, but that was also including, I think, all of the other promos that the player would have earned to get the Golden Mickey. So I'm not too surprised by this. I think I was thinking close to 25,000, more than closer to 30,000. But I mean, seems right for a card like this, to be honest with you.
We're looking at where everything else is falling. I think so. Yeah, it's certainly lower than the 250,000 that one eBay listing.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah.
Did you
That
see
did not
the
sell.
shipping? You see the shipping for this card?
Oh, the shipping?
Yeah. See how much they're having to pay for shipping?
uh, $19 and a 0.9%. So what's that? Basically
Insurance fee.
1% of 29. So another $29.
Yeah.
So nearly $50.
Yeah. So
There you go.
now
Graded
I
pristine.
wonder. So there's a lot of talk. There's serialized 500 is the last number. So theoretically, there's 500 golden Mickeys that have
Yeah.
been printed. That the math doesn't math when you look at all of the DLCs that we have left and how many
Yeah.
Mickeys are going to be handed out. So we
Mhm.
definitely don't know what plans are for any future ones, if there are plans for
And that
future
could be
ones.
affecting the price, right?
Yeah, well, and that's what I was going to ask is, do we think that this is where it's going to sit for a while?
Mhm.
Do you think it's going to drop tremendously if a bunch more start getting into the market? Because we're a couple DLCs in now, getting close to about halfway through most of them, I think.
Yeah. Fort Worth will be number 5. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, so half.
Yeah. Maybe. I think there's going to be some people who are like, well, if these are only going to the top 8 or top 4 at some of them, right, in the smaller ones, there should only be, less than 100 of them, way less than 100 of them in the world.
Yeah.
So that 500, where are the other 400 getting given away? And like I can't imagine. It's certainly not going to be, oh, yes, 80 of them went to the top 8s at the DLCs. The other 420 are going to be in select Happy Meals. You know what I mean? Like,
can you imagine?
They're going to be, hard. Like they should be hard, tough to get hold of or whatever. But that unknown quantity, I think, is enough to maybe make these perhaps a little lower than they could. But yeah, I still think it's a solid day's work. It's basically minimum wage, I guess. It's a year's minimum wage, right? If you win one of these and can sell it for this kind of money, it might pay your rent for the year, so you can
I was about to
just
say
concentrate on the DLCs.
Oh gosh, it's so sad. Like this, I say it's sad. This is a piece of cardboard, but it's not. It's a down payment on an extremely cheap house,
Yeah.
on a really small house.
Depending on where you live, it might just about get you a little one bed somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I say, I think quite comfortably outside of like big cities, it'll probably pay the good chunk of your rent. Like it'll probably pay a mortgage for a
I
year.
would think so.
Like,
Yeah.
so that's
It'd put a good chunk off your home. If you wanted to put it towards that, you could do a lot with this. Certainly, it's probably not life-changing amount of money, but
No.
well enough worth going to a
weekend's
DLC
worth of
and
playing card games for a weekend, right? Like,
yeah.
I know it's more to that, but you get the point. I'm being slightly facetious to make the point. Yeah. And then the other one I thought we'd take a look at, the one that is a lot more accessible, perhaps, to a lot of the people watching us today, I'm sure.
Supposedly.
Yes, is the Ursula Sea Witch promo, the store championship promo.
Yeah. Are you on the Canada version?
I may be. Are they a bit higher?
Yeah, they are for me. Or no, sorry, they're a bit higher on your end. On my end, they're a bit cheaper.
Okay.
And there's more listings, I think. I have 49 listings.
I am on the Canada version, but I can't see where to change it.
I have no idea.
Oh, all filters. Oh, it's moved. It's over here now. Look.
Ships there you Canada.
Go. Only one I can buy up here in Canada.
These have landed slightly lower than I thought they would land.
Yeah. This is the first time a card has sat lower than I thought it would. Yeah. Currently 215. Is that what you've got?
No, I don't think it updated.
Oh.
For you.
United States.
Click save. How many listings? There we go.
Yeah, there we go. That. 173. Look at that lion. Woof.
Yep. Sell them now, folks. They're going down.
I would hold on to these. I think these will trickle up. So I only know of one sale, which was a friend of mine who won one last weekend and he sold it for 600 Canadian.
Good grief.
So I think he's done pretty good there.
I had a buddy that won an Ursula last Saturday, and I think listed it for roughly it's like $400 or $450, and it didn't sell.
Yeah.
Like listed on eBay, nobody took it.
Yeah. So do we just think it's because it's not the first one?
I think there's a couple reasons for it. And this is all just tinfoil hat for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things is that this is not unique art in the sense that this is the same Ursula that's on the Illuminator's Quest.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little card in the Illuminator's Quest of this exact same art. Of course, you can't play that card. There's this. Also, this Ursula has another enchanted card in Ursula's Return.
I have that one. I pulled that.
I haven't seen that one much, to be honest with you. But I think there's that. I also think part of it is it isn't the first. And I just think, although Ursula is a very iconic villain, I just don't think it's a popular enough character to warrant a bunch of hype.
Yeah.
I think Stitch barely makes it into that level, which is difficult for me to say as a Stitch lover. But I heard somebody bring up this weekend that, I think the moment that one of these set champs promos is an Ariel or a Cinderella or a Rapunzel or like a princess of any kind, they're going to be, people are going to be gunning for them.
I think you're right. I think the other thing is with the Stitch one specifically is that it's a card we'd all known and loved for the best part of a year as well. Yeah. Which I understand. I understand their logic behind the set champ card being a card from the set, but there was something really nice about using it to have an enchanted of a card that had become like it to the point where we all just assumed that's what would happen. That's what had happened.
Yeah.
Like we'd all just assumed, they've gone back, look, and they've seen that we all love Stitch, Rockstar, great card, not tier 0 decks or anything, but did see play throughout the, dipped in and out of the meta, and just a popular card, popular character, popular fun ability, fun deck building. And they've gone, okay, we hear you, we see you, here it is. And I'd have put money on the next one being, we hear you, we see you, here's your Tragic Beast.
That's exactly what I'm
say. I understand that was just, they had the enchanted Stitch art and they were finding a use for it. And it was, good to go. And I understand that the card from the set being what you're aiming for in the set championship makes perfect sense. But I really liked the idea that they were curating it based on the community feedback of the last 6 to 9 months. And I was a little disappointed when I found out that wasn't what had happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think had this been a Beast Tragic Hero, or I'm trying to think of any other like really definitive set 2 cards.
Medusa, but she'd already had Tremaine, but she'd already had an enchanted. I think was probably the other one that I feel like she's the real set 2 standout. Other than that, you're talking a lot more lower rarity stuff like some of the Mims or Merlin's, Goat or Fox, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I couldn't think of anything that was super, or that was like a super rare or legendary that outside of Beast, but. Had this been something like a Beast Tragic Hero, I do think I would have been a bit more serious about practicing and gunning for one of these. In both of the set champs that I went to, I've been preparing for Fort Worth. I just dropped a die. I've been preparing for Fort Worth for months now because I knew that I was going to go to it. So as soon as Chicago ended, I was prepping for that. So I've been practicing anyway, but I sort of went into set champs going, I'm here to have fun. If I walk away with an Ursula, that's great. If I don't, I'm not actually all that upset about it. And I definitely was not that way for the Stitch. I was gunning for the Stitch. I was going to be upset if I ended up not winning a Stitch. And I feel like it would have been closer to that had it been a Beast Tragic Hero where Edwin mentions in the chat, Mufasa's another good.
Yeah, I forget Mufasa was set 2. Yeah, Mufasa would have been another good shout. Mufasa and Beast probably a few hits, yeah.
Just for of the reason you said, of a card that we've had for a while, a lot of people have grown to love, and doesn't have an enchanted version currently that people would still likely want to play. and do something with, because I think that also has something to do with it. Stitch doesn't really see play anymore. I think that's just more because of the Medusa problem than anything. But this Ursula doesn't virtually sees no play right now either. So
Yeah.
it's not like you're getting a card that you can play with and show off if you want to also.
Yeah. We'll see. I think these. I think also the fact that there's a whole month of a window to get these as well will make the price sort of really trickle down. But I
Yeah.
think they'll probably end up creeping back up again. What are Stitches sat at now?
I'm not sure. Last I checked, they were still lower than I thought they would be. Yeah, they keep going down.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if they ever will sort of trickle back up again.
I don't know.
Peak to sell them was just first week of May, 714. Jeez.
Yeah, they've halved in price.
There you go. Keep an eye on it. All right. Let's finish off with something fun. We are in reveal season, so we have a pile of cards to look through. I have no idea what order these are in. I think they're backwards in the order they. Oh no, yes, they were backwards in the order they were revealed, but I can go through the backwards, so they'll be right. So this is everything that's been revealed since the last time we live streamed. So this is basically 2 weeks of
Card reveals.
Yeah, sorry, brain fart right there. So we start off incredible art by Nick Cole here. 7 cost is uninkable, 5/5, 3 lore, Radigan Party Crasher, Floodborn Villain, Shift 4, evasive, and delightfully wicked. Your damaged characters get +2 strength. So leaning into the self-damage Ruby theme, that's been again one of those sort of bubbling themes. I feel like this is just a good body, even without that. Honestly, 5/5 for 3 with evasive, same thing that we just mentioned with that Prince Eric. Just Prince Philip, excuse me. Just a good statted body, But obviously uninkable here, and currently doesn't have an amazing shift target. I don't think. Obviously, we still haven't seen much of this set. But otherwise, yeah, I don't. The ability doesn't enthuse me much, really. I just think this is quite a good static card.
Yeah, that's the reason I was excited about the card when I initially saw it, was primarily because of the stats. And evasive quester with enough stats to avoid cards like Medusa, Sisu, and Brawl that also quest for a lot are just strong. And if you can cheat them out early, then they're even stronger. And so I don't think the ability is that useful or will come up that often. I think more or less, right now at least. And as soon as we see a Radigan card that has an efficient shift line, being able to play it on 3 or sooner and then shift this, I think this will be a very strong card and a pretty aggressive Ruby deck. There's currently Morph. You always have to consider Morph, but then you're in Ruby Emerald. Which
is the evasive build. Let's be honest. If you're going to build that deck, it's evasive package. There's like an actions matter sub theme there as well. But neither of those are really strong. But it is an evasive matters deck, really.
There's even an evasive Radigan in Emerald. I think
it's right. It's like a 1/4 or something, right?
It's a 4/1. I think
that's it.
Yeah. So
we'll
see if we see the shift or not.
I feel like this is a signpost card for that damaged, self-damaged. All the the Donald Duck, the couple of Donald Ducks I think we've seen there. The one from this set that's coming, and also the angry about his boat one.
I think, yeah. The legendary.
Yeah, so there's definitely a build there. Whether it's anything just yet, I'm not sure. All right. Next
we have is it Ludwig or Ludwig von
Drake? I would say Vig.
Okay, we'll say Ludwig von Drake, self-proclaimed genius, an inkable 5 cost 4/4 with 3 lore. Just a vanilla card, but a pretty strong one, I think, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd certainly draft this. 3 lore with really good stats on it. Yeah. Probably won't see constructed play, I don't imagine, unless there's I think it'd have to be a bit more aggressive, mid-rangey type Sapphire deck.
It needs a keyword, I think, for it to see any play, I think, as it stands, even though it's a good statted vanilla, I don't think that's enough.
Yeah.
Interesting bit of lore on this one, I guess.
So you see, there's a dark void at the edge of Lorcana, a complete absence of electromagnetic radiation. What's made of it, I don't know. The light's just gone kaput.
So you have to say that in your worst or your best terrible German accent.
I can't even. I don't even know what a German. I couldn't.
So you see, there's a dark void at the edge of Lorcana, a complete absence of electromagnetic radiation. What is it made of? I don't know. The light's just gone kaput.
That's pretty good.
That's how he talks. Ludwig.
Our German friends would be happy.
Yeah. Like I said, I wasn't doing a German impression then. I was doing an impression of an American voice actor doing a terrible German in DuckTales.
There you go.
It's very specific. 9. I forgot about this one. I love all the Robin Hood cards in set 5. I'm not saying they're incredible. Robin Hood is cool, and I'm glad he's just getting these cool cards. 9 costed, uninkable. Hooey. 6/6 4 lore. Robin Hood, timely contestant, storyborn hero. Tag me in. For each 1 damage on opposing characters, you pay 1 less to play this character. He also has ward for some reason. I've just realized that the Emerald Steel ping deck, it's a Robin Hood deck.
Yes,
like all the Robin Hoods.
Yeah, that's always has been.
Always. Yeah. Look, say. So this is really interesting. I love the fact that we're slowly getting a cycle of these cards. We have Chernobog. We also have another Amber one. It's not technically a cycle, I suppose. We have Kristoff from this set as well. It cares about songs, but this time it's damaged characters. So the problem is that the Bucky going away, I think, opens the gate a little bit for some more aggro decks stepping in. But they clearly don't want that to happen with cards like this, because they're just these.
If you're playing cards like this, you don't.
Yeah, these cards existing just say you try aggro, like that. Not this one necessarily, because 1 damage on most of it will kill it. But the cards that this cares about, if this is good enough to see play, then Avalanche and Grab Your Sword and Big Tink all come screaming back in, So that's kind of what my points I'm making there. So I don't know. I just love this, all the words and the big numbers.
I'm a big fan of cards exactly like this that reduce cost, like a super expensive, super big card that you can cheat out for really cheap if certain things are met. What's the word to replace things? Requirements are met, I guess. So I always get excited when I see a card like this. I don't know that it's extremely viable, because if there's anything I've noticed about Lorcana, it's that there's not usually a ton of cards in play. There's usually about 3 at most, sometimes 4. And if there's that many, then you're so far behind. I don't think this Robin Hood's gonna save the game.
I mean, yeah, but what you're really looking for is a Big Tink hitting 3 things and playing this on 6.
Well, Big Tink is 6.
Oh, shifting Big Tink.
Shifting Big Tink on 4. Hitting 4 other characters.
So they've got to have 4 things out that survive being pinged. You've also shifted Big Tink, so you're going to want to hit her into something. Yeah, there's so many ifs. I just still love it, though. I don't care.
Oh yeah, I still love the card. I think it's a really fun card. Somebody's going to play this, and it's going to work once, and it's going to be the most exciting game of Lorcana.
Yeah.
And no, it's going to work once. They're going to play it for like 3 ink, and then they're going to lose the game because the opponent has 7.
It's going to come down 3 ink, and then they're going to reduce it or something. Or something.
Play Be Prepared, Be King Undisputed. One of those.
Yeah, still good fun. The other Emerald Robin Hood that cares about ping damage is more playable, I think. We'll look at that in a moment.
Yeah. So next we have Tug of War, a inkable 5-cost action card. It is a choose 1 action. You can either deal 1 damage to each opposing character without evasive, or you can deal 3 damage to each opposing character with evasive. And we've had some interesting conversations before about these choose one cards because it can be a little bit deceiving that you may think this is a card that has 2 options to it, but it actually has 3 because it's an inkable card. So you can either use this
hold on.
card as ink.
I'm so sorry. I just need to go back because chat is for each 1 damage on opposing characters, you pay 1 less. So it's not necessarily 1 damage on lots of things.
Oh, so it's just damage counters total.
For each 1 damage on opposing characters, you pay 1 less to play this character. Yeah.
If
So
that's the way it works,
if they've got something huge and you throw 5 into it, this comes down for 4.
So this brings up, I think there's an archetype that hasn't been explored that I don't know is good, but I want it to be good because I think it'd be fun. I just don't think the colors help. And that's Amethyst Emerald damage removal. I think,
yeah, like the bell and stuff.
yeah, like the bells and things, because I can't remember them off the top of my head, but I know there's other. Oh yeah, no, it's all the Emerald cards that say deal a damage to a damaged character. Like do this thing and you can damage characters. And I was looking at the Amethyst cards that let you move counters onto other characters, and I'm like, I think there's something here. If I can, move a damage counter to a character and then do my Emerald things. So I think there maybe would be a fun deck
maybe
like that, Amethyst Emerald, where you pile up, a wide amount of damage counters on characters and then can play this for really cheap. So who knows?
Scott asks us a question. Good to see the live stream again. Thanks, Scott. Based on reveals so far, what would you two think could some of the enchanteds this set? The only one I would say so far is the Mufasa we're going to look at in a moment. That's the only one that sort of screams enchanted to me.
I don't remember enough of the revealed cards to really give you an answer.
Well, let's move through them then.
Okay, so back to Tug of War. This is a choose one card. You have technically 2 options in the text box, but you also have the option of inking it, which I think does make the difference. We've seen other cards like this that are uninkable, and I think they are much less playable because it is uninkable.
Yeah.
Still, though, I don't think this card is very good or we'll see play because evasives are not so oppressive in any deck right now that you would need to play a card to deal 3 damage to all of them. And even then, I think 2 damage from Grab Your Sword generally to everything as a song is still probably better unless we're in a metagame that is very heavy Emerald and playing Ursula Deceiver that can rip it out of your hand.
Yeah.
And the 1 damage to everything that's not evasive with this only being an action, so you have to pay 5 ink for it, is just so much worse than a Grab Your Sword or Avalanche or any of your other options.
I think so. I can't. I mean, 3 damage to each opposing character with evasive. Like, if it was like 5 damage to each opposing character with evasive, so it would just take out any evasives that you don't necessarily mind using this as like a pseudo Dragonfire against an evasive or something. But like even then, I don't see it, unfortunately. Love the fact that this like tug of war is becoming a narrative.
Yeah.
Stitch and now we see the
Stitch on one side, Tinkerbell on the other.
But I'm hoping we get like 10 characters
many more
all in it.
Yeah,
all in the war,
I'm hoping we do as well, because in both of these the rope is taut behind them, so there's somebody theoretically there's somebody else behind them still pulling. So
Tinkerbell, bless you. You're
probably not doing much.
You're as useful as a chocolate ashtray.
Poor Tink. She needs to grow up a little.
Yeah. All right. Next up, 6 costed, uninkable 4/8 with 3 lore, Louisa Madrigal, entertaining muscle, storyborn ally Madrigal, just a rare. Another Louisa in Amethyst for the Madrigal decks, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have to think about that from a competitive point of view or not.
I don't think so. Not right now.
Unless we see if we see like a Madrigal cost reduction, maybe.
Maybe they're just all. I don't know. They're all mid.
There's very little synergy between them,
Yeah,
other
that
than the
too.
2 cards that care about them. One that goes and finds them, and one that gains a lore for each of them. The rest of them don't really care, and I think you end up with just relatively sort of a hodgepodge deck of not even necessarily good stuff. I mean, I don't know. This is really well statted, but it is just a big body, you know.
This is going to be a great draft set because there's a lot of just really good like vanilla characters that are within a draftable range. They're not like 9 cost, you know.
Yeah. It's the top end of draftable play. I think 6. Any more than 6, you're wondering whether you get to it so much. But all right, next up.
Next, we have Invited to the Ball, an uninkable 2-cost action card. Reveal the top 2 cards of your deck. Put revealed character cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Ooh.
I mean, what's part of your world again? No. What's Be Our Guest?
Be Our Guest is an inkable 2-cost song.
Inkable 2 song.
Yes.
That lets you draw 1 character out of top 4?
Yeah. Top 4, pick 1 and put it in your hand. Which
Right,
is relevant sometimes because it's not even draw. It's
that's the baseline. This is either no, but that's the baseline. When I look at something like this, I'm always going to go back to Be Our Guest.
Yeah,
like better than Be Our Guest.
It's weird because I always just assume that if you're looking at 2 cards, one of them is purely an action and the other is purely a song, and they do like very similar things. In this case, they're not identical; they're very close to being identical. I always consider the song slightly better just because you can play it for free. But there are instances where it is a little bit worse. I think most of the time, though, it's probably just better as a song.
It kind of depends on how much like the 2-drop Ursula and Bare Necessities and similar things to that we are going to get in the future stick around and see play, really, because that's the only reason at the moment I feel like why a song is less good, you know.
Yeah, I would agree. And I don't think the potential extra character card is worth more than the ability to sing a song for free, the Be Our Guest for free, and get 1 less character from it.
Yeah. Corey says that this might be better for Amber Ruby. I don't know whether this is good enough to play it as a non-character in the Mufasa deck. That's the thing. Because is this good enough to risk hitting it off a Mufasa?
No.
or off itself, you know.
Like, Be Prepared doesn't get played in Mufasa decks, which I feel like is one of the few actions or songs that you could justify playing in that deck, and has it been broken since, I mean, not broken, strong, a really strong card since set 1, and Mufasa decks still don't play them, or they'll play like 2 or 1 at most. And so this certainly I don't think is better than that. And I don't think
invited to the ball from a film. Yeah, it's Cinderella. It's the Cinderella sisters getting invited to the ball.
So
yeah, no, I don't think so either. All right, next up. 5-costed inkable action. Finders Keepers. Draw 3 cards.
Amethyst be drawn cards.
Yeah, it has better ways to do it, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is too expensive. Again, it's not a song, it's an action, so you are paying 5 almost every time you play this just to draw 3 cards. I'd much rather play Maleficent and sing Friends, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
Play Maleficent and have 2 left over and draw 2 less cards. I feel like he's better. Like 3 cards is huge. Huge.
Yeah.
Does it, you know, like Jafar, is this maybe a piece for Jafar? Is drawing 3, gaining 3 lore enough? I don't know.
I guess. I don't know. It's the question would be, does that make enough of an impact? Because they obviously already play Friends on the Other Side. Every Amethyst deck plays Friends on the Other Side. And it's, like you mentioned earlier, 1 less card for 2 less ink, and it's singable.
Yeah.
Are you really missing the 1 extra lore off of Jafar, you know, for each Friends that you play? And I don't think you are.
No, I don't think you are either. It's a shame. This was singable. do we think then?
I think so, actually. I think if it was singable, you probably still play 4 friends, and then I don't think you would play 4 of these. You'd probably play like 1 or 2 of them, I would think.
Yeah. Genie Floodborn sees play. Was he Floodborn or just Dreamborn? I know the one you mean, the one where you banish it.
The one
lets
that
you draw.
Quest was not
Yeah.
Floodborn.
No, it's just Dreamborn, I think. But if he was Floodborn, he might have seen a bit of play because he quests him on the turn he comes out. But
Yeah.
No, it's a shame. But can't all be bangers, can they?
No.
Next up.
Next we have
behind there. My whoop was a little behind your whoop.
Next we have Sherwood Forest Outlaw Hideaway, an inkable 2-cost location with a move cost of 2 and 7 willpower. 2 abilities here. First off, the Forest Home. Your character's named Robin Hood may move here for free. Another card to go into the Robin Hood Emerald something deck. Another one, Familiar Terrain. Characters gain ward, and you can exert this character and pay 1 ink to deal 2 damage to chosen damaged character while here. I'm assuming that means at the location.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
Set 1. I'm sorry, that isn't who I was talking about.
I assumed you were
on about the Amethyst Genie who...
I don't remember. I know that one... Oh, doesn't it quest and you can play an action 5 or less for free?
Yeah, that's it.
I don't think it sees play.
No. I'm sorry. I assumed you were talking about the one that lets you draw 3 cards when it quests, you can banish it to draw 3 in Amethyst. I assume that was the connection you were making. My apologies. All right, Sherwood Forest. That's not very good. It's just too many hoops, I think.
Anytime a location does not have lore printed on it, I think it immediately is nearly unplayable, regardless of what it says on the card. And it's definitely less playable when the stuff it says is
put more stuff into this.
Yeah.
This has got to be, you've played this, you've moved something to it, which is either 2 or more likely you're only playing this in a Robin Hood deck, I feel. But even then, you've moved your Robin Hood to it. You then have to exert that Robin Hood and also pay an ink to deal 2 damage to a character that's already damaged. Oh, this trash card.
Yeah, I forgot you had the ink.
It's annoying me the more I read it.
I was gonna say I have the answer. You play Robin Hood on 1, play this on 2, move him there, and
do nothing.
Do nothing because you don't have an extra ink. I thought before that I was thinking then you can exert him, and
you've also got to you've got to have damaged something by then as well.
No, I know. Just let me listen or let me talk, and then you can banish your opponent's Mulan that they played on turn 1.
Oh no! In that case, I'm all in. Goes right into the Robin Hood deck. I'm not sure it does.
Does it?
I don't know what this Robin Hood deck is, but
I don't think it's this. I don't know. They do get ward. Maybe that's enough. Maybe this is a later game card.
I suppose it just sits there with ward. You don't have to use the exert.
No.
We're making this card good.
Yeah, there's
so
somebody someday is going to top in a tournament with an Emerald Steel Robin Hood deck.
Somebody's going to come back to the start of this live stream and comment.
Say, I told you so.
Yeah. All right.
Minimoss.
I have translations. Hold on.
I have no idea what this card does because I don't even remember it.
Minnie Mouse, Compassionate Friend. 4-cost Amber, 1/5, 2 lore. Whenever this carries a quest, you can remove 2 damage.
Okay.
That's it.
Is that the Illuminary just like crashing behind Minnie?
Geez. Maybe. Oh, it's a huge, maybe. It's a huge thing, look, crashing right by the party.
Yeah. I think it's the Illuminary falling apart. Oh.
Everyone, the chat completely disagrees with us about Sherwood Forest, by the way. They're all saying it's the most incredible card ever.
Hear that? It's free. Prove me wrong, chat. Make me eat my words. Until then, you're wrong. It's a bad location. It's not going to see play. Moving on.
And you should feel bad. thinking otherwise.
and you're all idiots. No, I'm just kidding.
They don't have translations for the flavor text, so we'll have to figure that out ourselves.
It's okay. Rochelle told us. Yeah, like the trailer.
Yeah, like the trailer. Yeah, but like, it didn't seem that aggressive in the trailer. Like, this is huge.
See, this is nobody's talking about this. What the heck has happened to the Illuminary? Like,
they just look at it in the distance and it's like, ooh, like this.
Yeah,
is like,
and then they go back to partying.
No,
the Illuminary was definitely falling apart in the trailer. Like, there was definitely things that were falling off of the Illuminary.
Yeah,
and people are like, whatever, back to our party.
you know. They've had a long year.
What is Minnie holding too? She has like a potion.
Yeah, we don't know. A lot of stuff going on here.
It's Rapunzel's hair grease, hair oil.
And into a wrap.
Yep. Maybe it's after a shower or something. I don't know.
Oh ja, ist das ein Teil des Illuminariums? Ich muss helfen.
Anyway.
Oh no, is that a part of the Illuminary? I must help. I think it's going to be something like that. I'm going to guess. I don't know. We don't know.
I just want to know why the Illuminary is falling apart, and nobody seems to know why. And nobody's questioning it either.
They're having a party and the world is literally crashing down. I mean, it's exactly what's happening in real life.
They beat Ursula.
The world is falling,
especially after
TCGs,
after recent events.
Yeah,
you know,
and then concert,
and then I just go to set champs like normal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is the part and not any amount past it. I think it's a timeline thing to, like, they have to show the party in the trailer, but also they kind of need some like intrigue into the story. But I maybe it's the timeline's a little more. Anyway, I don't hate this, to be honest.
What is it? When it quests, it heals. When it quests,
you can heal 2 from something. Yeah,
I don't like it.
No.
I think it's in that area of like, it doesn't have enough strength. It doesn't do anything when it is played.
Yeah.
It's not very impactful. I would rather play Rapunzel to do the same thing and draw more cards.
It's common though.
So you also have Julieta at the 3 cost. I don't know. I'd draft it.
Yes. Can somebody in the chat? I can't type. I have a feeling Devon in the chat is way behind.
I think so. He's talking about Prince
that happened like 20 minutes ago.
Somebody let Devon know that if he wants to,
nicely, he can catch up if he wants.
If he wants to, he can catch up. But if not, hey, Devon.
Yeah, hey.
However many minutes.
All right, next up. Did not have this on my bingo card.
I didn't either, but I love this. We have Merlin Turtle. That's what I'm assuming that is. An Inkable 4 cost 3/3 with 2 lore. Don't know what it does because I can't.
Cool. It does this. When you play his character and when he leaves play, so he consistent with Merlin's. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Put one of them into your hand and the other one into play for free. No, that's not what it says at all. It says put one of them on top of your deck and the other on the bottom.
Ooh.
So just a good bit of filtering. What does Squirrel do? Because I feel Squirrel does very similar.
Is it just the top? Is it just the one and then it goes to top or bottom? It's definitely Scry.
Yeah.
But this is Scry 2? Put one on top, one on bottom?
Look at 2, one on top, one on bottom. I need to look what Squirrel does. Because it's so similar.
I'm pretty sure Squirrel is look at the top and put it on top or bottom.
It's a 2 costed 2/1. Look at the top of your card of your deck, put it to the top or the bottom. Yeah, so it's literally double. So it costs
double
more.
Squirrel.
Its stats are a bit better. It's a 3/3, and it has 1 more lore as well.
But is this you have to put one on top and one on bottom?
Look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Put one on the top and the other on the bottom. That's what it says, but it is a translation on Musha.
It is a translation, so we don't know.
Yeah.
Regardless, I don't know if this sees play. I think it's a good card.
Yeah, there's a million other things you play on 4 in Amethyst, but
4 is a very tight spot.
The Merlin Floodborn that we've seen that I can't remember what it does now. It feels like it's so long ago.
Tutors.
Yeah, the Merlin Floodborn that tutors. Like, this is another target for that. So if that really ends up being good, you want to hit more Merlins. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't think this is a bad card by any means. The lore is pretty good. The stats are pretty good for its body. It's just competing with Goat and Rabbit and Queen's Castle.
And Castle, yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Cards in the game.
Mich jetzt nicht, das hier ist wichtig, which it's got to be witch.
Wichtig.
No idea.
Dang that witch.
Dang that. Rhymes with witch. I don't know.
Oh, I love this card.
You've seen him quicker than me for some reason.
Do I really?
Yeah, when you're reacting, mine's still catching up.
That's so funny.
1 costed Inkable, 1/2 with 1 lore in Emerald. Clarabelle, Clumsy Guest, with the ability Butterfinger. Oh, it's still called Butterfinger in German as well. When you play this card, you may pay 2 ink to banish a chosen item.
I like this.
So 3 ink, banish an item, and leaves behind a 1/2.
I like this for Emerald.
Yeah.
I'll say there's obviously better options in other inks.
Yeah.
But Emerald does not have great options right now for item removal.
It's Clarabelle though, weirdly. Like, isn't that you belong in my heart?
There is a song.
And it's her singing it.
Yeah, that is Clarabelle singing it. That I think does that. There's also, what is that character from Wildcat? There's Wildcat.
Yeah, he's Emerald as well. So Emerald's starting to get quite a few, very conditional, but still quite a few sort of item answers. Yeah.
But I like this card because it's inkable. Yeah. It's, even though you're developing something really small, you're still developing something.
Still putting something on the board, right?
And you can use it to get rid of an item. I think it's fine to play on turn 1. If you don't have any other turn 1 plays, though, I guess Emerald has a lot of really good turn 1.
Emerald does have turn 1 plays, but like you say, if nothing else, 1 costed, 1/2, inkable, just does a lot of just has a lot of options. I think, yeah, I don't mind it for common. I don't mind it at all.
Happy to see more Clarabelle.
Yeah, do you know what I'd love is like a 6-drop shift 4 Clarabelle. Like, destroy all items, you know,
banish everything. Just that'd be fun.
Clarabelle,
Chains of Love. That's what it was.
Who?
Chains of Love. That's the song.
Yes, it's not called that, is it?
It's not called that.
Called You're in My Heart,
but the song is. The song is funny. I have a Spotify playlist that is just songs from Lorcana in it. And all of them are great. And then every now and then you'll start hearing Clarabelle and Goofy singing Chains of Love. And then you're like, what is going on? So it's fun.
I'm just letting Devin know because nobody else did.
Yeah, no, you freaking chat.
All right, next.
Ishverd. I don't know what this says.
No, me neither.
Ishverd.
I'm not having fun anymore.
That's been me all set playing against Bucky.
Choose one of your characters and just put it in your inkwell. Exerted.
Wait. You just choose it. You choose one of your characters.
Yeah, that's what the translation says.
And then put it in your inkwell.
Put it in the inkwell. Exerted.
Okay. When would you ever want to pay 1 and take a card out of your hand to put a character in play?
No. Choose one of your characters. It's not a card. It's something.
No, I know. I'm saying, like, if we're looking at
this card out.
Like this is a card out of your hand and 1 ink to remove one of your characters and put it into your inkwell for ink that can't be used that turn.
I don't know. When you know something's gonna be banished next turn,
I don't know. I think even then, because most of the time I'm fine if somebody wants to challenge a character and banish it. They're not questing and they're not singing, right? If it's something getting around like a be prepared, maybe, because it's going to die anyway. But with cards like King Undisputed around, I don't know. I'm not loving this one.
No, me neither. It's a weird one. I'm just checking something. Oh, interesting.
Grammatala, that's a good point. I guess there's Grammatala synergy. What? The Floodborn that gains lore when something doesn't. Yeah.
3-drop Mickey, yeah. Put him out, ramp, quest with him, use this, ramp a bit more. I don't know.
I'd just rather quest. The lore is way more important than the ink.
Well, you can still quest. You can do this after questing.
Yeah, but then you can't quest next turn.
Well, I'm questing. Yeah, but if they've got like a fox out and you're like, well,
what do I care? Challenge it. I'd be happy for them to challenge it with a fox. They're not questing or singing.
Yeah, spicy tonight.
We haven't seen you in 2 weeks, dude.
All this pent-up aggression. 1937 fan. Ferdinand the Bull would be good at banish all items. That's such a great shout that I actually quickly had to Google it because Ferdinand was I
don't know who that is.
So it was like a short in the 30s. There was a movie in the late 2010s, maybe like 2016, something like that. But it's not Disney, and that's what made me think about it. I was like, I don't think it was Disney, but I'm sure there was a Disney short. And yeah, I've just looked, and weirdly, there was a Disney short called Ferdinand the Bull. But then in the late 10s, there was an animated movie called Ferdinand about a bull, but it wasn't Disney. So I don't know whether they had the lights from somewhere else or if it's just one of those, super old. It's like anyone can make a Cinderella movie.
Oh yeah,
I wonder, if it's something like that. I don't know. Just had to quickly look at it then. All right, next up, 2 costed. I'll do these soon as you don't speak German.
Yeah, sorry.
And I have Musha report up. 2 costed inkable. The end is near. Choose one of your characters and ready them. They can't quest for the rest of this turn. If you choose a villain character, gain a lore. Ooh, I didn't read that last bit. First time I read this.
Villain synergy. So
this is ready, set. Oh, God. It's on LeFou. There's an action that LeFou does. LeFou Instigator when he
Fan the Flames.
Fan the Flames. It's Fan the Flames, but a little better if you're playing villains.
If it's a villain, yeah. Yeah, I think that's exactly it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Because I don't think Fan the Flames is a song.
No, I don't either. That's pure power creep, that.
Power creep! Justice for Jumba.
Yeah. Amber Ruby villains. Yeah, this goes into villains, doesn't it?
Oh, true. I mean, surely.
Yeah.
How many Ruby... How many good Ruby villains are there?
There's a few. Maleficent.
Dragon?
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
It's good. It's 9 ink though.
Okay. So there's...
Is that it?
No, I think if Amber Ruby villains could be a thing one day because of Hades and because of Queen of Hearts. So the Ruby Queen of Hearts are all pretty good. Maybe this Ratigan stuff. Maybe this Ratigan stuff ends up being good. I would love a villains deck. Like, it's kind of what I thought you'd be able to do straight away.
Set 1, long before set 1.
Yeah,
since we saw Hades, the first 10 cards that we've ever seen.
And I saw it, and I was like, oh yeah,
you can
villains in a
Me
deck.
too. I was like, I like where this is going. Give me a great deck that only plays villains.
Yeah. Although I remember us being a little worried at the time when we saw Mulan being a hero and Hades being a villain, and we were like, "Oh, I hope it's not like you have to build a villain or a hero deck." I remember us all being a bit scared about that.
I do remember.
Yeah,
that.
maybe some of the Ratigans. Medusa, Tremaine, yeah. So there's actually quite a few.
Oh, there we go. Why? Of course, Medusa,
You just
Tremaine.
don't think of them as being villains, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe a little common.
Maybe we'll
Five
see.
Drop Queen, Exhausted Draw, maybe.
I like it. I'll give it a chance.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Amber Queen.
The Amber villain queen.
Yeah, the one who makes stuff smaller. I'm all in. Shere Khan's back, baby.
Forget Mufasa. Who needs him?
Yeah, Shere Khan.
Shere Khan, Scar, all the villains, ladies in red.
Is dancing with me, cheek to cheek. Don't tell me you're too young to know Lady in Red. There's nobody here.
I don't know what that is. Is that the reference people are making when they call Lady Tremaine and Medusa ladies in red? Is that where that comes from?
I can't think of what else.
I thought it was literally just because they were ladies in.
Where I want to be.
Red. I don't think so. Wow. Hey, I'll have to listen to it and see if I recognize it.
It sounds just like what I just said.
I'm look it up right now.
One of our reveals. That's right. No, I remember you did a really great skit reveal.
It was a great skit. It was an awesome. I loved the skit for both that and because that wasn't this set, right? They did Flotsam and Jetsam this set, and that was a great one too.
Yeah, that's one. 7-costed inkable. No, hold on. 7-costed uninkable. 7/10 with 3 lore. Sir Ector.
This looks like. Nah, never mind. Keep going.
I can't. Knight. I wonder if we'll ever see a Knight thing. Knight. Storyborn Knight. Just a big old dude.
This song sounds old. Oh, it's not that old.
It's got to be 80s, I thought.
It's 86.
Yeah. Oh, it's the year I was born.
Wow, you're old.
You're as old as this old ass song.
This I will forever call Sir Ector as Dan. He's just Dan.
Oh, he does look like Dan.
That's what I will forever call this card. Shout out to Hobbies and Happiness.
That's really good. I should find one that looks like Jim now and put them together.
Yeah.
Has anyone told Dan that he looks like?
I don't even remember this card, so I don't know. I don't remember it getting revealed.
You just looked at it and was like, oh,
yeah. Just now, I'm like, that's Dan from Hobbies and Happiness.
So good. Looks just like him. That's amazing. Yeah. I can't call where this is from. This is one of the dads of a princess, and it's I
couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I can't call this one. My God, you're right, isn't it? Yeah, really good shout. Dice to Dragonfire. I don't know. Are you playing this?
No, of course you're not.
Okay.
Dan sucks. We know this. We've said this for forever.
One day there'll be Knight Synergy. There'll be a card that's like all these knights.
One day there'll be a way to cheat out knights because we have Goofy Knight for a day. We've got Sir Ector. All these.
Stout-hearted, I feel, is the only one that currently sees play. Sleeping Beauty, Sword in the Stone. Make your mind up, chat. Make your mind up, chats.
Sure, you could tell me anything right now. I believe you.
Hatsui. Yeah, I feel like
I'm not even sure.
It's probably the only knight that really sees play.
I don't even think you draft this card.
Probably not. It's going to be a dead card in your hand so much, isn't it?
Yep, it's uninkable.
Yeah. Oh well. All right, next.
Here we go.
Oh, now we're talking meta, the new meta.
Sure. Pete, Wrestling Champ. Uninkable 3 cost 1/3 with 1 lore and ability Repeat. Love it. Love the puns. You can exert Pete and reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a character card named Pete, You can play it for free. It's a repeat. I love it.
100%. They came up with the name Repeat, and then we're like, "Oh, what was he do?"
Absolutely. Somebody definitely dreamed of this one night. Like woke up in the middle of the night, wrote it down, and brought it to the office the next day.
No. How many beats do we have currently?
At least 2 in Emerald that I can think of right now. Probably more than that. Are there any steel Pete's? I don't know.
So I'm gonna have to look on.
This feels like such a fever dream of a card.
Yeah.
Even for this set, like, why is Pete wrestling?
Out there, right?
Why is Pete in a wrestling match? The Illuminary's falling apart.
And nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Pete is wrestling with himself.
So here's what I love, and I'm going to call it now. One day, we get Pete's Dragon in the game.
Okay.
And
is that a card name or a thing?
No, it's a Disney movie, Pete's Dragon.
Oh, okay.
It's an older Disney movie, but it's a Disney movie, and there's a dragon in it, and there's a little boy in it.
What? Spoilers.
The boy's called Pete, but he's just called Pete. So if they print him, does this Pete?
Not this Pete, but another character
Pete.
named Pete.
Are they making a crazy combo deck that's just? And now I want to Google Pete in Disney and see how many
Pete's there are.
Disney
pizza
character Pete. Just shows him. His appearance is
the only one that matters.
Still just shows him.
I get he's wrestling at the festival, chat. It's just still pretty out there. Why are we wrestling? We just defeated Ursula. Why are we fighting?
What is Pete? Is the top link.
What is Pete?
But if that worked, Jonti, you could use this Pete to summon Peter Pan. No, not at all.
No, because it's Peter Pan.
Peter Pan. But the character Pete in Pete's Dragon is just called Pete.
His name is Pete.
But not if they call it Pete's Dragon. But Pete's Dragon is a different character.
This is like Frankenstein.
Yes,
Frankenstein
exactly.
Is not the monster.
Yes, exactly.
Pete is not the dragon.
And Pete are two characters in the movie Pete's Dragon. The dragon isn't named Pete. No, it's Pete's Dragon. Pete 'S Dragon. The dragon belongs to Pete.
Yell it louder, Jonti.
Peter Pan's aren't named Pete. No, they're not. I mean, I call him Pete. Me and Pete Pan.
Me and Pete go way back.
Oh, I like this. It's me and that's Pete. We're like super close.
Been to Neverland.
Yeah. Does this mean? Do you know? And the reason I point it out is because
Pete Madrigal.
He's not called Madrigal. Pete's Dragon is Elliot. That's right. Very good, Patches. Pete's Dragon is called Elliot. Now, the reason I pointed out, because the only time I can think of it happening so far. So you want the kid to be a card? Yeah, why not?
Sure. Arthur's a card. Why not?
Yeah. Like any character can be a card, right? He's a little boy, so Pete is going to tag in a little boy off the top of your deck. He's going to hold the ropes open. This little child is
child's going to come running into the ring, ready to go.
Like, all I mean is mechanically could it happen? And the reason I pointed out is because Chip, we have a Chip card from Beauty and the Beast. The card is called Chip the Teacup. And the only reason Lumiere is Lumiere the candlestick.
Oh yeah, it is the
primary name. Chip the Teacup.
Yeah.
And the only reason I can think that's happened is because there is another very popular character within Disney called Chip, which is Chip and Dale.
And Dale.
Right.
Chip has the brown nose, right?
You don't know. I don't know. Right. So that's all I'm saying is when we get Pete, will they have to come up
We
with
spent
a
so
last
much
name?
time on this conversation.
I
Like,
know.
it's coming to Lorcana.
Then Pete from Pete's Dragon is when he's played for free. Dutch for Dragon Elliot. I feel like
Search for Dragon Elliot.
Oh, well then Pete says when he's played for free, search for Dragon Elliot. Yeah. Yeah. Dale has the red nose.
Like Rudolph.
All right. Anyway, this card is awful. So.
Yeah, why did we? All right.
But I would absolutely just love the idea.
Is there any
bad guy from Mickey Mouse and the kid from Pete's
this
Dragon,
little boy that nobody remembers? Is there any synergy between this Pete and all of the other Petes? Do any of the other Petes synergize with each other? I know one is actions based.
Yeah, the one is he gets bigger if you play actions, right? Or gets more lore if you play actions. The problem is if you search for Pete on the app, you get all the Peter Pan cards. So maybe the game's telling us you can play this with Peter Pan. I don't know.
Get it together, Ravensburger. Come on.
Sort your shit out, Ravensburger. All right. So yeah, there's the 5-costed bad guy, 3/4 with ward. Whenever you play an action, this character gets +2 strength. When he has 7 strength, he gets +2 lore. Then there's also Pete Rotten Guy. He's just a 4-costed 1/5 for 2. And then there's Pete Born to Cheat, 2-costed 2/3 whenever it quests while he has 5 or more. So no, like making his strength bigger seems to be Pete's thing. Yeah.
That's exactly what Steel likes to do also.
Is it?
No.
That's like what?
That's the point I'm making. There's no synergy.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. Well, no, because that's Challenger. Never mind. Yeah, I don't know.
Pete looks at the top, fails. Bruno looks at the top, 3 lore. So we're playing an Amethyst Steel Pete Bruno deck.
We're playing Pete, and we're playing Pete Wrestling Champ, and intentionally no other Pete's in the deck just to fail.
No, because what? No,
when we could instead play Ursula's Cauldron and do the exact same thing.
No. I still want Pete's in there. Bruno's the backup.
Bruno's the alternate win.
Yeah.
We're still playing Ursula's Cauldron. What are you talking about?
Yeah. My win condition is overrunning the board with all these amazing Pete's that are currently just dominating the game, let's be honest.
Do you remember in set 1 how long it took Ruby Amethyst players to play? Because they would, every single turn, they had Ursula's Cauldron, look at the top 2 cards, then play Magic Mirror, draw a card. We're doing that, but we're adding Pete to the mix now.
And Pete,
we're looking with Pete, then we're doing Ursula's Cauldron, then we're playing any other scry card that we can.
That's my impression of Pete.
Just taking as long as we can.
I just like to give Franz emotes occasionally for the
discourse. Yeah.
All right. What's next? Okay.
Now we're getting some juice.
We can skim over this. Well, I would rather go back around to Pete.
Okay. Go ahead.
Go on. You can read this one.
Okay, we have Mufasa, Ruler of Pride Rock, an uninkable 8-cost 4/9 with 4 lore, Story Mentor King, and an ability, a Delicate Balance. When you play this character, exert all cards in your inkwell. I forgot that part. Then return 2 cards at random from your inkwell to your hand. I didn't realize you had to exert all your cards. That changes my opinion on this card. And then another ability, everything the light touches will be yours. Whenever this character quests, ready all cards in your inkwell.
Why does that exert all cards in your inkwell bit bother you?
Because it probably doesn't ever normally matter, because I'm sure you're trying to play this as early as possible, but in the games where you are ramping to 1 billion and you have 15 ink and you play Mufasa, then you gotta exert all the other ink and can't use it.
Well, you use it first.
Yeah, I guess, but maybe there's, I don't know, maybe there's a situation where you can't or you don't.
this card more than any I've seen on a single card is like. So one of the key things that makes a player in Lorcana a good player in Lorcana is learning the order to do stuff. It's
Yeah.
a real that's your first step, I think. After like just learning the game and like start off, draw a card, ink a card, play a thing, Like the next step up from that is like, but there are no set orders to this. And sometimes it's better off to do them another way around. And I don't think that has been embodied in a single card as much as this, because the order you play stuff around this is huge, I think.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So what do you want to do with this then? You want to play this. You want to pick up 2 cards.
2 random.
Return 2 cards from your inkwell. Yeah, so pick 2 random cards up. You want to ink for the turn. You want to ink with your fishbone quill that's already out.
You
want to pay 2 for your lucky dime that's already out. And gain 4 lore.
Yeah. That's pretty strong. That's a pretty strong turn.
Great. And let's be honest, you Sapphire players, you've always got your fishbone, you've always got your dime. So don't pretend you haven't.
Don't pretend you don't. Yeah, I mean, I think this card has potential to be very strong. I question if it I question if it sees play because of Tamatoa. Because you're right, Lucky Dime and Fishbone Quill are 2 very strong cards that you were probably playing in this deck with this card. And is it just better for you to play Tamatoa in a deck that you're already playing? Because you're also playing Popsicles. If you're doing that, you're also playing Hiram, more than likely. So is it just better to play Tamatoa? Because how many expensive uninkable cards do you want in your deck realistically as Sapphire? And Mufasa's maximum... Well, let me back up. Tamatoa ends games. Mufasa does not.
No, it's a really good body. I think this could become like a 2 of, but I do kind of agree with Darryd here that this might be the card that everyone goes crazy over and then doesn't see play, like Jafar.
Yes.
Yeah, I do think there's that. I just like big flashy cards though.
I love this card. Yeah. I definitely want to get that out of the way. It's beautiful. I love the ginormous stats and all the lore and the super unique, cool ability that it has that you can do some really flashy, fun stuff with.
And if it survives a turn, then you really start to cook, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Even without that sort of bomb turn of the dime on the turn it comes out, I think if this just comes down and survives, then you start to really have some fun. Now, Steven says you can't dime this the turn it comes out unless you play more ink. Yeah, but like we just said, you can do this and then you can ink for the turn.
No, okay, so he's right. Because the turn you would play this, you would have already inked for turn to have gotten to 8 ink to play this.
Oh, assuming you don't play this on curve, then
yeah, you'd have to play it on 9.
You have to play this on the turn you can then ink.
Have 9 ink. Yeah.
You can dime this on the turn you play it. You just can't do that on curve necessarily.
Yeah, you'd have to wait a single turn.
Yeah, or you would have to. No, 1 jump ahead comes in exerted, doesn't it?
You could theoretically have 2 quills out and then do it.
2 quills. That's the big thing. I'm not a Sapphire player, so all of this is a bit too big brain for me. My problem is there's so many things in Sapphire that does a variation on a theme. And I always forget which is which. Like, does it go from your hand to the inkwell? Does it go exerted? Does it go from the deck to the inkwell? Do you look at 2 and put 1 in the inkwell, or do you put 2 and 1 in the hand and 1 at the bottom? And even players who play this deck at a high competitive level get all this stuff wrong.
Yeah, the card that I've seen play more than anything, and that I misplay all the time is how far I'll go.
How far I'll go is the biggest problem I have seen watched happen. Yeah.
And I know it's innocent from everyone that I see do it because I do it every time also. And
but you're a big cheater pumpkin eater.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
All right. Anyway, big flashy cards. Very happy to pull one of them. We'll get an enchanted. Probably won't see any play. All right. Next up. These will all come today, I think.
Yeah, I think these are today. This is Vanellope von Schweetz. Inkable 2/2. 2 cost with 1 lore, and I believe it's when she quests, a chosen character gains -1 or loses a strength until the next turn.
Next turn.
Is it next turn or just this turn?
It says this turn, but
Okay. You just went muted on me.
I did.
Oh, there you go. Now I can hear you.
There was an advert playing. That must have muted my camera.
Oh, must have muted. Yeah.
Del tuo promesso turno sounds like it could be until next turn, but
I don't know. I just was guessing.
Otherwise, she's a shift target, I suppose.
Yep. Do we have a shift Vanellope already?
Yeah, okay. It was part of the initial release. I kind of forget what she's done. I
don't remember either.
Vanellope Lorcana. Let's have a look.
Oh, Rochelle says next turn. Cool.
Till next turn. There we go. Thank you.
It's a little bit better.
You heard it here first, folks. I thought we had a shift. I thought we had a Floodborn Vanellope.
I remember getting the Floodborn other girl.
Yeah, maybe not.
I can't remember.
Yeah, we have the 4-costed Storyborn with Rush, who gains evasive on the turn she comes out, and then there's a goon, an amber goon.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, no, we haven't seen a Floodborn yet. I'm sorry, there's got to be one coming.
Yeah, because that's what I couldn't remember is we got all those racers, and I knew there was a Floodborn in there. And I remember now. I remember now seeing the other Vanellope and going, "This is a Wreck-It Ralph set. We have to have a Floodborn Vanellope, surely." I see it, Rochelle. Thank you. It is next turn. And did we miss anything else on it? I don't think so. The flavor text says, "I'll take whatever you've got as long as it's got sugar in it."
There you go.
It. She's a Dreamborn Hero Princess Racer. Candy Mechanic is her subtitle.
Oh, look at you learning Italian.
Look at me.
Thank you, Rochelle. She sent it to me as well. If you want to send me the other 6 in German,
if you want to send us if you want to send us the Floodborn Vanellope that hasn't been revealed yet.
Oh, I wasn't even pushing that far. I was just thinking tomorrow morning I'm doing a card recap video, and I don't fancy smashing through German.
The English ones, yeah. I don't know if there's actually a Floodborn one, by the way, people. No, I'm joking.
It's kind of a guess, like an educated guess, perhaps.
An educated guess. I love this card. I think this is one of the best cards revealed from the set so far.
Okay, go ahead. I'll let you take it then.
It's an inkable 1-cost, 1/4. Daisy Duck, Donald's Date. Also has 2 lore. An ability, Big Prize. Whenever this character quests, each opponent reveals the top card of their deck. If it's a character card, they may put it into their hand. Otherwise, they put it on the bottom of their deck. This was revealed by Earlmeister, friend of the show.
We love Earlmeister. Smashing it on Real Play Network, by the way. He streams every morning.
He wasn't streaming Real Play Network today. Yeah. Not a friend of the show anymore. I love Daisy Duck. This is a very strong aggro card, I think, which is an archetype that I don't think has had real legs in Lorcana so far. No. There have been times for it to shine and times where aggro decks have been able to see play. It's a risky deck to bring, but sometimes pays off. There's just a lot of answers in steel, and steel is almost always prevalent. Well, I'd say it's just always prevalent in the meta. I don't know that there's been a time there hasn't been. And the hyper aggro that we've had so far lives and dies on basically if you play into steel or if your opponent has answers to it. And Daisy, at least currently, there's no answer except for one that I can think of that I haven't heard anybody mention. If the Daisy player is on the play, so they're going first, there's only one answer that I can think of to banish a Daisy Duck on turn 2. So she's definitely getting 2 lore out. If it's not this specific combo, I can't think of anything until turn 3 that banishes Daisy Duck.
Banisher?
Can you guess with what I'm thinking?
Is it? Hold on, I'm just going to check the number on it.
And you're on the draw, so
you play her.
I can think of 2 cards right now that you could play. And then
no.
So the only thing that I can think of is you have to play either Captain Hook or Rafiki on turn 1.
A challenger, and then something that bumps them up 1.
And Lumiere on turn 2.
Yeah.
And then you can challenge Daisy Duck on turn 2. It's unsuspecting because they don't know if you have the Lumiere, and you probably just quest with Daisy no matter what. And then you can banish her on that turn.
Yeah.
I guess theoretically there's the Queen too. You can shift the Queen if you want on turn 2 and challenge into the Daisy.
Yeah, shift Queen.
Cindy's Seeing Storm does not do it, I don't think.
No.
Not unless you have a rush
The
character.
Boom doesn't do it. The Boom just does 2.
Yeah. You could theoretically play Cinderella Ballroom Sensation on turn 1. Turn 2, play a rush character, and then sing Let the Storm Rage On.
But again, all these answers are like perfect lines.
Yeah.
Putting 2 or 3 cards into it and not doing much of what you want to do yourself, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I bring all this up to say that's why I think this card is really good for aggro. At least right now, there's a bunch of more cards that could come in Shimmering Skies that do answer this card early. I hope not.
If there are, they're going to be. That's very good.
They're going to be really great cards. Yeah. When that's the point I'm getting to. Aggro has been not great because there's a lot of pretty good answers, and it's just not quite fast enough unless you hit very specific openers that usually require a couple cards and also require your opponent to just not be playing steel or not have other answers. And I think Daisy's a great direction, and Daisy goes in any aggro deck. You can play Amber Amethyst, you can play Amber Steel, you can play Amber Emerald, you can play any version of aggro that you want, and Daisy's going to be a great turn 1. The thing I immediately thought of is like Daisy on turn 1, Piglet on turn 2, Blue on turn 3. And on turn 3 you've got 7 lore theoretically, and might go up to 9 lore if your opponent banishes your blue in response.
And okay, so you've not talked all about the downside of this card. You might have given them 3 cards.
Quote downside. I'd see. So here's the thing: in an aggro deck, especially like this, that's going to be very aggressive. I don't care if my opponent's drawing character cards. And what's even better, I mentioned Steel a lot and how good it is in aggro. This helps prevent, I guess it's about 50-50, helps or hurts prevent your opponent from top decking those action or song cards that ruin aggro. Because if your opponent reveals a Grab Your Swords, that thing goes to the bottom of their deck and doesn't go into their hand to use against you. On the flip side, if they reveal a character and draw it, then they're 1 card closer to
whatever the non-characters are.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's a very risky card, and that's kind of the point of aggro, right? It's like I'm just going to put as much down as possible, and basically, yes, you'll get resources off me, but I'm going to try and outrace you before you can do anything with those resources.
Yeah, I mean, already in the Amber Amethyst deck that I played Saturday, won on like turn 5 because I just couldn't interact with it fast enough. So like they're already super fast. What do I care if you drew, Automatoa and Tinkerbell? Like who cares? You're not going to play them. I'm going to win the game for that.
Yeah, no, I think she's good. I think she's good fun. I think it's worth, make sure we talk about all the possibilities and stuff. But yeah, no, I think she's good. I think the next card we saw is pretty good as well. This is a 2-costed. No, it's not. It's number 2 of the list. A 5-costed inkable 3/5 with 1 lore. Robin Hood, Sneaky Sleuth, Bloodborne Hero, Shift 3, and Clever Plan. This character gets +1 lore for each opposing damaged character in play. Incredible art by Nick Cole. This
kills it every time.
I called this card, and I will stand by this. This is a sexy card.
It's a great card. I love that I'm getting to this point because Lorcana has given me an appreciation for artists that I've not previously had for really anything, any of the other TCGs that I've played. And I've started, like, I've never really had like a favorite artist or
Mhm.
somebody that I follow in that regard. And the moment that I saw this card today, before even checking who the artist was, I've appreciated and seen and followed Nick Cole long enough now, though, that I guess I recognized that this looks like something. This
Mhm.
looks like his work, and I
Mhm.
was so happy to see that I was right. That I was like, oh, I knew this was a Nick Cole card just by looking at the art before even looking at the
Because
reference.
the character's facing the right.
That maybe that was a tell. Maybe that was a tell. But yeah,
Nicholas Cole's characters have a good side. Let's say
yeah,
that.
they all face the right.
Yeah, no,
Actually,
it's
I don't know. Is
incredible.
that anymore? It did the enchanted Ursula. I don't know if she's facing the right. Is she?
Kind of, maybe not quite as much as others, but yeah. But I dig this. I think this is great. I think it's cards like this at Uncommon that enforce the idea that something had to happen with Bucky.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because this is just another great card for Bucky, right?
Yep.
Shift 3, yes, that's good. I think you're actually gonna want to play this after Chief Bo goes down.
I definitely think it's a good play. I just don't know that Chief Bogo is good enough. We'll have to see if
I
there's a
think it just gets
Floodborn
better
Chief
and better.
Bogo. Probably for the same reasons we mentioned earlier in the stream. He
Yeah.
has text that says when you play a Floodborn, do this. So every time we get a better Floodborn, he gets better. I was thinking something along the lines of you're still playing like a Emerald Steel Robin Hood deck, and now you have two very scary Robin Hoods that can come down on turn 3 and
Yeah.
shift. Um,
Uh,
and both of them can sing very scary songs and do very different
mhm.
things. You know, one of them, this I like, and for this one, I'm thinking sing Grab Your Swords. The other one could sing Whole New World or Grab Your Swords. I mean, they both could. You could do whatever, but this one, of course, wants to damage characters. So
Yeah, I feel this one singing "Grab Your Swords" is almost an unbow, but like because it's another turn before he's actually gaining the lore. Then, but yeah, I'm just wondering what the bow did again. I feel like
I think the
it's
Bo
a bow
Ready's
gets good.
Robin Hood.
Oh, you can ping it. You can exert it to deal 1 damage to a character. You can exert it and deal 1 damage to a chosen damaged character or location. And then it says, whenever a character of yours named Robin Hood quest, you can ready this item. So,
Okay.
I don't know if it's that good still. It's that damage a damaged thing. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make him
It's
any
tough.
better because he
No.
only looks for them being damaged, doesn't matter how damaged they are.
Yeah. Yeah, I would sooner look at the 2-cost Robin Hood that like can exert and ping and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I think he's better. But like you say, we also have the other little one, and then the just like the vanilla one, the goon one.
Mm-hmm.
And then isn't there a 3 drop Robin Hood as well in Emerald? Am I just getting all middled up?
There's a 6-drop in Emerald. There's a big one.
Yeah, there's the big one with like the 4 lore, right?
Yeah. I
That's
don't
John
remember if there's
Lawrence
a
art.
3 one.
I'm just getting them all mixed up together. But yeah, I just I think this is good. This is a really like maybe I'm just missing something, but this seems really good for an uncommon.
It seems good. My only concern, and this is because I've wanted, as much as I really don't like Emerald, I really like this Emerald Steel deck of ping things. And I've tried to make versions of it that work. And I just think there's too many outs to that in Lorcana naturally.
Yeah.
Like you already have all the bounce stuff and Amethyst that's going to kind of ruin that.
Yeah.
And then, like I mentioned earlier, I just feel like in Lorcana, rarely do you have boards that are super wide.
Yeah.
And so, like, even if you look at this, maybe Robin Hood gets an extra 2 lore. maybe 3 lore.
Yeah,
But then everything has to be damaged, and there's setup that comes with that.
maybe.
So I don't know. And it feels like I feel like it's really telegraphed unless you're able to both shift this Robin Hood and deal the AoE damage on the same turn, so that you can quest the same turn you do all the damage. So I don't know. Maybe there's an Amethyst Emerald version out there of moving damage to make it easier. Who knows?
Maybe. And then finally, boop, one more. It's going to have a good old think about it.
One day Pack Tactics.
There it is. One day. Forecasted inkable. Action song. Try everything. Remove up to 3 damage from chosen character and ready them. They can't quest or challenge for the rest of this turn. So heal something and get it out of harm's way, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. You could sing with it.
Sing something that's damaged and sing with something that's damaged.
No, I'm saying once the thing that this readies
can still sing. Yes. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
I don't know. This feels like a very narrow card.
Yeah, I think so as well. Unless there's more just song payoff in Amber, but there's just other things you want to do. Don't know this song. I don't know what you're going to put on your Spotify list for this.
Yeah, I haven't looked it up yet. I don't normally.
It's not a musical, this movie, so I don't
add the songs until the cards are released. So yeah. I'll have to give it a look closer to August.
Maui, if you want to prevent him from attacking, yeah, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's uncommon. They're never all going to be bangers. There's some good stuff in there, though.
Yeah, I think so far, I feel like at this point in Ursula's return reveals, I was less excited for the set than I am for Shimmering Skies. Okay. There's a couple extra more cards in here that I'm excited to play and test with, and even if they're not meta breakers, I'm excited to build something around them.
That is the name of the song. Oh yeah, I know it's called Try Everything. It says at the bottom, look, Try Everything.
Song by Shakira.
But yeah, I might know it to hear it. Yeah, but not saying it's good, but that's the way to use it. Oh, sure, we can always find ways to use the cards, but we want them to be good.
Yeah, but I can find a way to use any card.
Yeah, I also don't. I think with the art here, what's interesting is that's not Zootopia. I don't think in the art. I think that's a Lorcana location.
I agree
that she's going to in the train. So
this is this was a song from the original motion picture.
Oh yeah, I'm assuming it's like in the credits or like it plays as she's entering the city or something. It's just I just don't know it.
It's by far the most streamed song from the soundtrack on Spotify.
I don't know it. It's not one the character sings. It's not. I don't really pay attention to it. If it's just sort of like it's sang by the
Shakira.
Yeah, but in the movie, is she like an antelope?
I don't know. I haven't seen the movie in forever.
Yeah, I can't remember either. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, that's the reveals. More next week, I'm sure. I think it looks like the content creator stuff is trickling in now.
Yes, reveals are being revealed. Cards are being revealed.
Yeah, there we go. So this weekend we have Fort Worth.
Yes,
it's gonna be exciting stuff.
It is exciting. I'm excited to go to another DLC. This will be my last DLC that I'm planning to go to, unless they invite me to cast in any of the other ones. So I'm excited for the last one until Continentals or Worlds comes along, or Internet. What is it? Continentals, Internationals? I don't remember.
I don't know really. Hopefully we hear more from them soon. It'd be awesome to get you up to Toronto. That'd be great if they.
I tried. This is a very funny and dumb thing that I did. So I was trying to renew my passport so that if I did get a call and they were like, "Hey, we want you to come up to Toronto," I could say, "Yes, I can do it. I have my passport. I can get up there." got all the documents together, took a new picture, put it in an envelope, dropped it off at the post office. I don't check my mail very much because I don't need to, really. I don't get a lot of stuff.
Mail these days. It's only ever bills.
And so I didn't check my mailbox for like probably a week and a half, 2 weeks. Checked it, and the package was in there because I never put postage on the thing to send it off.
Wow. It's impressive that it came back to you and they didn't just like dump it.
So it's definitely not going to be back in time for Toronto, I don't think. A renewed passport usually takes a minute.
But, well, I mean, I'm not saying you should do this. In the UK, I once got a passport in 3 hours.
Okay.
Because I was going on a trip and couldn't find it. And in the UK, you can go to the passport office and pay too much money.
Mm-hmm.
But they will do it there and then.
Do it right there.
They will take a photograph and go in the back and come back out.
I would probably, I mean, unless it's in a really absurd amount of money, yeah. I'd do it just to go up to Toronto and
it was like
cast together.
It was like $500 or something like that. Like it was,
yeah.
It was way too much money, but
very
it was my own fault. It was my own fault for not having my passport.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I lost it. It was that it was out of date. I got it out ready to go and it ran out. It had gone out of date like a week earlier or something.
Yeah, mine's been long out of date.
But I am also having passport issues. I currently have waiting for mine.
Still waiting on yours, huh?
Yeah, it's definitely an issue, but they won't tell me what it is. Anyway, you don't need to know about that, guys. In Canada, you can just tell them you're having a trip coming up and they'll do it faster for nothing. Yeah, but this was I went and got lunch and came back and it was done fast. It was kind of insane. Yeah. Cool. Well, either way, Fort Worth will be good fun in whatever context we enjoy it. And then everyone else may be doing some set champs. You can let us all know how you get on next week, and I'm sure we'll have some reveals as well. So lots to talk about next week. I can't think of anything else though until then.
I don't think so. I think that was it.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for joining us, folks. We appreciate you. Sorry for the week off and the week, and then before that was a week off as well. So it's been all over the place. We should be able to get back into a good rhythm now. So we'll see you next week. But yeah, until then, that was This Week in Ink. No, hold on. Until next week in Ink.
That was This Week in Ink.